What is going on, guys? I didn't say all right, guys. Is that shocking? I don't know if I want to keep saying all right, guys, every single time. I feel like it's a little too much, right? It's a little too much. Maybe. You guys can let me know. All right, guys, here we are, episode 60 of Press X Podcast. Appreciate you guys being here with me, waiting patiently as always. For those of you who are here now and those of you who will be watching after the fact, please do me a big favor and hit that like button. It helps out the podcast tremendously, helps it get in front of more people who are maybe not familiar with this podcast. I'm looking at my beard here. I think I messed up trimming it a little bit. I think I left a little bit too much here. Might have to correct that. But yeah, so episode 60, pretty crazy. Not really, a celebratory milestone, but still surprising to me that we are on the 60th episode here. We have a lot of really great topics to go over and talk about. And hopefully the stream is coming through fine. I'm sure that some of you are aware that we've had some issues with streaming lately, and I've been saying that it seems to me I have to restart my PC before I do a stream. I don't know why. It's really strange, but if I don't do that, I seem to run into some issues, and there seems to be no explanation as to why I'm having those issues. So hopefully the stream is coming through. No problems. Let me see, I already got some super chats right off the bat. Yeah, you're saying the camera's working, it's smooth, it's great. Really happy to hear that. Hopefully it stays that way. So right off the bat, we have Sir Speaks a Lot. As always, thank you for being here, man. You're saying just finished RE8 on hardcore. It was a huge mistake. Shame on me for wanting to play run 1 on the hardest difficulties for a challenge. Never again. Yeah, it's funny, dude. I was actually thinking about that. I was wondering, is that something I want to do? And I'm glad you're mentioning this because instinctively I decided I'm not doing that. I'm just not going to do that because, for pretty much for the reason you're mentioning here. It sounds like it really wasn't that good of a time. I feel like I always want to take on harder difficulties when I feel much more confident. Like I know the game, I know the mechanics, I know what to expect, unlike a game like Returnal where there is no difficulty and you're just thrown into it. So thank you for that, man. We have Brett Williams. You're saying, looking forward to the show. Thanks, MBG. Well, I appreciate that. I hope you do end up enjoying the show. We have a lot of interesting topics to talk about for sure. And we also have iSiler18 saying, I only see Kratos on your wall. Where's Abby and Bug Snacks? Happy Mother's Day, by the way. Yeah, how could I forget? Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. Wishing all the mothers the best Mother's Day. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get an image of Abby. Bug Snacks, I probably should. I should print something out. Man, this is really going to annoy me. This is really going to annoy me. I can't believe I missed this spot. Whatever. Don't pay attention to it. Don't pay attention to it. You're saying, I see you have your Metal Gear Solid statue up on camera view. Yeah, I do. It's Solid Snake. This official PlayStation magazine, I think this may be the last one potentially that we're getting. I know that they kind of retired that and they're doing Play magazine now, which is kind of crazy. So, yeah, again, thank you guys for being here. You're saying clean shave. Yeah, I don't know about that. First of all, my wife doesn't like it when I'm clean shaven. She likes when I have facial hair. So I don't think that would work out. But yeah, I always try to do it myself and I always mess it up somehow, but it is what it is. I did shave my head though. Aaron, you're saying donation to print out posters in color. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I mean, I'll probably just print out a picture of Bug Snacks. Maybe I'll put it right behind me. It might not be visible half the time, but yeah, 100K Bug Snack stream, guys. All right, let's get to 100K by July 1st. Don't think that's going to happen. Definitely not going to happen. He's saying goatee for maximum Chad status. Yeah, but if we can get to 100K, we'll do a Bug Snacks live stream. So if you're new, if you're somebody who is not new, go tell people who are not aware of this channel and tell them to subscribe so we can get that Bug Snacks stream. But yeah, so let me give you guys a quick rundown of the topics. Actually, before we do that, I got to give a big shout out to my members. You guys are awesome. We have multiple member tiers, and the shout out I'm giving now are to those who go above and beyond to, donate to the channel in a pretty significant way. starting with the Play Has No Limits Plus tier. This is the highest tier, and you guys are definitely going out of your way to make sure you're helping support the channel directly. So big shout out to Junior Jackson, Samuel Payne, Josh Z, Chlorine Keploni, David Gaines, and D-Dog. Thank you guys so much for what you do. And we also have the Play Has No Limits tier, which is still a high tier in my opinion, and certainly individuals going out of their way to support this channel directly. So another big shout out to Brandon Chad Perez, Alpha Azer, Adrian Pollard, Sayin JT, Big Norman 0518, Tyson Webb 509, Shaky Shako, Space Gambler Jr., Sir Speaks a Lot, Jeffrey Hicks, Rune Gasoden, Whiskey Gaming, Ryan Butcher, Chris B, and a Shorty Faye. Again, can't thank you guys enough. You're awesome. You help power the channel and make it so I can continue to do what I do here. And we also have John saying, love what you do, bro. I listen to you while working. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And it's always nice to hear that, you know, people are able to listen to the podcast when they're doing their stuff. Because when I listen to podcasts, that's what I do, right? I mean, I am on camera and whatnot, but, you know, if you have like YouTube Premium, you can just put your phone in your pocket, put some headphones on. It's always a good time. Whiskey Gaming, you're saying, missed last week's live show. Looking forward to today's show. Well, it's okay, man. You can always go watch the backlog of shows. You know, they're not going anywhere. I probably should create like a playlist. People have asked me to do that, and I've just lost track myself. So I'll have to do that at some point. But yeah, we definitely have some interesting topics to go over here today. Some clarification as well on specifically Halo Infinite, which we're definitely going to have some things to say there. We have Keegan. You're saying, before we start, can we all agree God of War is Sony's biggest triple anus? Oh, man. See, I was waiting for it, man. I was waiting for it. I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, nobody's mentioned the triple anus yet. But yet here we are. Thank you, Keegan, for bringing that up. But I do have to agree. I think God of War is Sony's biggest triple anus. It really is. Juan, you're saying, hey, MBG, love all your content. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I try to work as hard as I can on the channel here. You know, it's something that I love doing, as I always say, and I, you know, love having a community here that we built together, and we kind of share the channel together. And, you know, I think that when we are here doing the streams, it really does a good job in highlighting that. So I'm glad you enjoy the content, man. I'll do my best to keep it up. So let me give you a quick rundown of some of the topics that we're going to be talking about today. So at some point, I don't know if this is what we're going to start with, but we're going to talk a little bit about the Discord partnership with Sony. We did talk about this earlier in the week or last week. And, you know, I don't know that I have too much to say about it, but I do want to talk about it a little bit more because I'm not really sure what exactly to expect with it. Like, I don't know if this is going to be like a complete overhaul of, you know, how you interact with people on the PlayStation ecosystem, potentially. I mean, we really don't know yet. We're also going to be talking about, let me bring it up here, about, look, I'm going to use the term fake outrage because that's what it feels like to me. I know that some people don't see it that way, but we're going to be talking about a lot of the industry secrets that were apparently dug up, you know, by this trial between Epic Games and Apple. And one of the things that came up was Sony and Crossplay, I think in 2018 or 2019, and them wanting to make money off of Crossplay, and everybody's getting all angry. And I'm just over here like, okay, I guess. And apparently Sony is being sued by some consumers, which is interesting, for apparently monopolizing digital game purchases, which is kind of weird. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Mr. Hamster, what's up, man? You're saying, do you do planks when you work out, MBG? Occasionally. I'm actually getting a bit of a gut. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I'm really out of shape, believe it or not. Like, I'm the most out of shape I've ever been in my life. It's been a turbulent year, and you know, it's been a long time since I've been at the gym. I've been trying to work out at home as much as I can, keep a little bit of what I have, but I do planks usually. I do, sit-ups and stuff like that, bicycle crunches, but I have not been working out my abs, man. Somehow you knew, Mr. Hamster. You knew. You're like, this guy's not doing abs. You know it. You know it's not happening. Mepsic, you're saying, hey, brother, tell your wife we all said Happy Mother's Day. Hope all is well. Will do, buddy. Will do, Mepsic. I will let her know. Yeah, so everything is going good, man. Everything is going good. Very grateful to be here to, be able to hang out with you guys and do this podcast. So really appreciate it, man. And then we also have Rory. You're saying can't be more than a month away from a state of play. I think we're going to get more than a state of play. You're right. We're getting close to it, but I think it's going to be much more than a state of play. Sir Speaks Out. You're saying muscle bound gamer. Nah, my big gut. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I'm trying to. I'm bulking. You know, I'm bulking. I'll just say that I'm bulking. You're saying there's some flickering going on. I don't know what causes that. Is it still doing it? It seems like it happens sometimes and then it stops. I have these weird technical issues with my streams and I just don't know like what causes it. I mean, I don't know if it's the lens or if it's, you know, my windows next to me. I don't know if it's causing some kind of, I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't bother you too much though. Let me see here. Let me make sure I'm not missing any super chats. Because I always feel bad if I miss them. All right, so we're good now. So yeah, just to continue to give you a quick rundown. You're saying Jay, you're saying you feel like there's a lot of fake enthusiasm over Returnal. I don't think it's fake enthusiasm, man. I think it's genuine enthusiasm, but what happens is people get crushed by the game, like myself, and it's like you want to keep being like, this game's great, but let me tell you, when you're on like a 2-hour run, 2.5-hour run, and you get crushed, you're not feeling so good about it. That's just the nature of it. It doesn't mean it's a bad game, doesn't mean you like it any less, but in that moment, and I feel like we all experience this with games in general, in that moment, we all like feel like, I hate this game, right? Like we all have those moments. We can't pretend that we don't, you know? It's a great game, and there are some amazing moments, and I feel like with Returnal, it has some very high highs, but also some very low lows when you get there. So, yeah. Just to continue with the quick rundown with the topics. So we are going to talk about Halo Infinite because a former 343 developer came out, said some stuff, and apparently he was either taken out of I don't know that he was taken out of context, but he went on to clarify what he was trying to convey, which is greatly appreciated because it really didn't paint a very good picture for Halo Infinite. And so he came out and he clarified some stuff, which we're going to talk about. And I just want to talk about like the implications of Halo, you know, hitting that October, November 2021 launch and potentially going up against Horizon Forbidden West. You know, we're getting closer to these big events that are going to happen, and I just want to have a discussion about that. We're also going to talk a little bit more about Starfield because apparently I got dunked on by Jason Schreier, according to some people, for being fake news. He wasn't calling me fake news, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Something we're also going to be discussing, which we definitely need to take some time here to have a discussion about this, is the fact that Xbox, okay, you know, we're talking about industry secrets here, all right? Two things with Xbox. A couple things, actually. Well, first of all, Xbox officially confirms that PlayStation is, in fact, their main competition. That's right. Not Google, not Amazon, PlayStation. To some people, this seems painfully obvious, which I agree. But that's not really what Phil Spencer said not too long ago. So, yeah, this was a pretty interesting insight. We also learned that apparently Stalker 2 is like a 3-month timed exclusive for Xbox, which some people were surprised to learn about. We heard Xbox review The Last of Us Part 2, which is just very interesting. And we also have, there was something else. Oh yeah, the fact that Xbox has officially confirmed, because they had to confirm. I apologize for that flickering, guys. I really don't know what's causing that. I might have to adjust my curtain a little bit. But yeah, Xbox officially confirmed that they don't make any profit off of their consoles. Now, some people were really running with this, and it's not that, like, this is just how it works. It's nothing new. So yeah, we're also, maybe if we have time, we're going to talk about Sony Bend officially confirming their next AAA game. Pretty much low-key confirming it, right? Like, just a very soft announcement, but I haven't seen literally anybody talking about it, and I'm like, to me, it's kind of a big deal, right? We have Icyler again. You're saying, I give Returnal around an 8.3 due to the really bad 2 endings. So I haven't completed it yet. I have not completed it yet. I've heard a few people say that they don't like the ending, and it's interesting to me that there are multiple endings. So I'm just naturally, organically playing it. I'm not trying to spoil myself. So I'll let you guys know if I am disappointed in it or not when I get there. Firex, you're saying, oh no, charging companies that make tons of money. Yeah, dude. So let's start off with that. Okay, let's start off talking about. I feel bad because we're like 20 minutes into the podcast already. Well, technically 15 minutes, and I haven't even started the first topic. But let's talk about some of the stuff that came out with PlayStation and crossplay. So I don't have every single detail in front of me. So I'm, forgive me if I get a couple things wrong. You guys can correct me in the chat or, in the comments afterwards. But essentially, what was happening, to kind of like look at it from a bird's eye view, essentially Sony is, obviously aware that they are the market leader, not by a small margin, not by a slim margin, but by a pretty wide gap, right? They know, and they knew then, this was like in 2018 and 2019, they're the market leader. You're saying it's flickering for you too. Guys, real quick before we continue, how many people are experiencing flickering on their screen, like with the webcam? Is it just like occasional? Is it consistent? Because on my end, it's not showing flickering. That's really weird. It's like split 50-50. Some people are saying it's flickering. What does the flickering look like? Does it look like it's like a reflection or something? Or does it seem like it's the camera itself? A lot of people are saying they're not getting it. I think it's like once every 10 seconds. I think it might be the reflection of my window, potentially, because of cars driving outside. Like the reflection of the cars, it's like hitting the camera a certain angle. So that might be what it is, because that's kind of what it looks like. So I do apologize. Maybe I can adjust it just a little bit. Hopefully that stops it. I turned my monitor a little bit. I don't know if I'm a little bit off center, but hopefully that fixes it. Okay. Anyway, let's get back into, you're saying you think it's my screen. Actually, I did not consider that. Let me put it back then. All right, we'll just leave it. It's probably my screen. I didn't even think about that. You're right. I'm switching, I'm switching screen tabs and whatnot. So that's probably what it is. All right. Spending too much time on technical difficulties as usual. So let's talk about the crossplay situation. So, what I'm trying to say is Sony is aware that they're the market leader, and what they wanted to do is essentially strong arm publishers. Now, we don't know how deep this runs. Like, the biggest argument I've seen with people is they're like, oh, well, this negatively impacts smaller developers and publishers because, like, if Sony wants to charge them, and we have to understand based off of my understanding, Sony only wants to charge them basically if they're losing customers potentially, like if they're losing purchases, like if because of crossplay, their customers are buying, microtransactions and stuff like that on other platforms because of crossplay, Sony basically wants to be compensated by the publisher. And they wanted to charge Epic Games, specifically with Fortnite. And, what people are kind of like glossing over is, and this was a really interesting piece of information that we learned, like this kind of was shocking. Apparently, Fortnite is making almost 50% of its total revenue. Okay, and we know how much of a juggernaut Fortnite is. And I think that this was actually back in like 2018 and 19 when I think Fortnite was at its peak. I mean, I don't know how popular Fortnite is. I don't really care, but I know that was like the only game people talked about then. Almost 50% of their revenue came from PlayStation, even while it was on mobile. PlayStation was literally their cash cow. And so, an email came out where Sony was basically, Epic Games said to them, look, we want to make you the hero. Like Epic Games was like pushing really hard for crossplay. And Sony was just kind of like, what do we have to gain? And that's the thing that bothers me, is like people are like, oh, what's that? Sony wants to make money. Sony's the leader. They're on top and they want to make more money where they can. They want to flex the fact that they're in first place. It's like people act like this is some kind of shocking like revelation. Like it's not. How quickly people forget. Did people forget that back during the 360 and PS3 era, it was literally reversed? Sony wanted crossplay because they were not number one at that time, and Xbox was number one, and they're like, nah, we're good. I mean, it's just, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying it's business, people. You know, like that's just how these things work. And so I have to call it fake outrage because it's like, look, Sony did it in the end anyway. And I'm going to be completely blunt. If the only way Sony is allowing crossplay is to make these big publishers, again, we don't know if it affects smaller developers, and we don't know if this is a practice that's even in play. These are things we still don't know. We don't have all the dirt. We just have some of it. I don't really care, dude. You know, I don't care if Epic Games has to pay Sony for crossplay. I don't care. And if they're paying them, it's because basically, hey, we're losing potential sales here. We're losing customers because of this. You know? And I don't blame Sony for that, man. Like Sony's in the lead, and they're like, look, we have the biggest platform. You know, we have the most amount of users. Like, why would we do something that like literally there's nothing in it for us? I get it's like for the players, and it's like, haha, Sony's not for the players. It's like, guys, it's a marketing tagline. Okay, they're a business, just like Microsoft. Okay, let's not act like we don't know this. It's I'm just saying, like, you don't have to be happy about it, but we also don't have to act like this is like some kind of like, oh my God, Sony and cross. Like, I'm just tired of the fake outrage all the time with people, man. You know? And it's not just with PlayStation. I want to make that clear. The whole fake outrage thing, it's not just applicable to PlayStation. It's everything. Like everybody gets outraged over every little thing these days. And it's just like, can we just give it a freaking rest? Honestly. Like, just, you know, wake up, smell the coffee, and enjoy yourself a little bit. That's all. Right? Siler, you're saying Sony charges for crossplay on Fortnite, and so what? Folks act like they're paying to use crossplay on PlayStation. Exactly. Again, Sony, they're not stupid. They're like, look, we're the leader. We have no reason to do crossplay other than to, I'd say the only real reason Sony has and maybe chose to do crossplay was because of the pushback they were getting. You know, they were getting ganged up on by Microsoft, Epic, everybody else, even Nintendo to an extent. And, you know, Sony felt kind of pressured, and it was a bad look. And so they said, okay, well, if this is how it's going to be, we want to, you know, we want to make sure that we can make money. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it, honestly. You know, I didn't want to spend too long on this topic because I just don't think it's that important. You know, the only reason, honestly, I'm really talking about this is because I've seen some comments on my videos, and there was a decent amount of upvotes on these comments where people were asking, am I going to talk about this? And I said, you know, I'll talk about it on the podcast, because it's like, I don't care at all, dude. Like, I just don't. You know, we're also talking about stuff that happened years ago as well. So, as far as I know anyway. So it's like, look, Sony ended up doing crossplay. Isn't that what we should be happy about? And, you know, some people are saying, well, you know, smaller developers, if they can't afford it, or it might, you know, it's too much of a liability, well, then I don't care, man. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I don't care. Not every game needs crossplay. Crossplay isn't even something that I really care about that much. I mean, look, the truth is, Sony has a massive player base, and I've never really worried about, like, oh, but, you know, I can't play with Xbox people or PC people. Like, I don't care. If it has it, it has it. I mean, you know, when I played Call of Duty recently, I haven't played it in a while, but when I was playing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, I always turned crossplay off. Because I'm just like, I just want to play with PlayStation people. Like, I don't want to worry about anything else. Like, I just want to play with PlayStation people. You know, I would actively turn it off. Just being honest, you know? Again, and if Activision is being charged, I don't care, dude. That's not my problem, you know? Let them charge them. Sony's going to make money where they can make money. Judah, you're saying, I honestly have seen no outrage from actual people regarding Sony making money like a business should. Feels it just blogs. It's like blogs just making clickbait titles. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people, man, and I just don't get it. You know? I just don't get it. You're saying lots of games lose player bases quickly. I mean, I know that, but I'm not saying there aren't any benefits to crossplay. There certainly are, but I don't know. if a game's losing its player base, you have to ask yourself, why is it losing its player base? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that topic. I didn't really want to go on too long. So, and just while we're here, I'm only going to speak to this for just a moment. So again, like the fake outrage, it's becoming comical to me where, oh, Sony is being monopolistic with with digital game purchases, and I really this is okay. I don't really have anything to say about it, man. Like, I do not care. Sony's not the only one doing this. They are not the only one doing this. You're saying MBG really needs to get off Twitter. Twitter and YouTube, man. Twitter and YouTube. A lot of crap. All right, so let's talk about some of the dirt. Some of the other dirt. The more interesting dirt, in my opinion, that has come up. We're talking about learning about some things that we just maybe weren't expecting to learn about because of this trial. So the first thing I want to start off with is, in my opinion, I think the most comical, all right? Because I'm going to look it up right now on my phone. I should have had this ready to go. But let's see. So, hold on. Phil Spencer. Apple. No, not Apple. Google, Amazon. Let's see. Let's see if we can find what Mr. Spencer had to say when it comes to competition regarding PlayStation. Okay. We have Primal Plasma. You're saying Fortnite is so popular that a lot of people aren't buying games. Fortnite is free, awesome, and takes up a lot of my video game playing time. I'm not a fan of Fortnite. I never played it, but there's no doubt it's an absolute juggernaut. Okay. It's a juggernaut. So again, like Sony wants to make as much money off of it as they can. Can't fault them. So this is, I don't read from Polygon, but this was just the first article that came up. This was February 5th, 2020. Okay, so a little over a year ago. Phil Spencer says Amazon and Google are Xbox's real competition. Okay. I want to see if I can find the quote. He says, when you talk about Nintendo and Sony, we have a ton of respect for them, but we see Amazon and Google as the main competitors going forward, said Spencer. That's not to disrespect Sony and Nintendo, but the traditional gaming companies are somewhat out of position. I guess they could try to recreate Acer, but we've invested tens of billions of dollars in cloud over the years. So it's important to understand the context here. He's talking about mobile. Not mobile. He's talking about cloud. But still, it's like, I mean, come on, Phil. We all know that that's not how people are going to perceive it. And even if you are talking about cloud, even in the cloud space, I'm sorry, Sony's still going to be your competition just because of the PlayStation branding itself. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is because we have who is it? Xbox's vice president, Lori Wright, straight up confirming and going completely against what Phil Spencer said, saying that PlayStation is Xbox's main competition. And Nintendo to a certain extent, but pretty much PlayStation. And I just find it comical, man. You know why I find it comical? Because I remember when, Phil came out and said this, and people are gonna be like, well, the context, man. The context, you're saying in her opinion. Dude, come on. In her opinion, she's the vice president of Xbox. She's literally going against, I'm not saying that she can't have her own opinion and Phil can't have his own, but let's be real. Let's be real. Who walked away when Phil Spencer said that Google and Amazon are Xbox's main competition and said, oh yeah, Sony, they're going to get left in the dust. Same with Nintendo. Xbox is on another level. I'll tell you who walked away saying that. I'll tell you who. The Xbox fanboys. Because that's how they wanted to interpret it. I've actually seen the opposite. I've seen other people saying, well, no, actually, it's the other way around. Xbox can't compete with PlayStation and Nintendo. So that's why they're competing with Google and Amazon. And look at what happened to Google. Google is a literal joke in the gaming space. A literal joke, dude. And, you know, I'm supposed to sit here and be like, oh, that's Xbox's main competition and they're way above Sony. No. No. Like, it's comical to me. You know, it's comical to me, and I just want to highlight this because I think it's good. Okay, that's the thing. Like, people think like, oh, here he goes with the console war stuff. I actually think this is good. To me, it was more concerning to hear, wait, what? Google and Amazon are your competition? Are you serious? Like, I don't want that to be your competition, Xbox. I want Sony to be your competition. You know? Shorty Faye, you're saying BS Phil, only reason he said it is because they could not compete with Sony with the games they were putting out. But Phil, Xbox fanboys, believe Daddy Phil. It's true, man. Like, you know, I just don't understand why people are so quick to, not people, but like, you know, Xbox fanboys, man. They're so quick to latch on to things like this that are said from Phil Spencer, but they don't remember Phil Spencer saying that he wants to win. Why do people not remember that? Phil Spencer literally said when he was asked about like Sony being in the lead and them being in like third place, and he said, yeah, he wants to win. And I appreciate that because, like, of course you do. Who thinks you don't? Who thinks you don't want to be ahead of Sony? And it's weird because you have like these group of people who are like, well, Microsoft doesn't, like, what's strange to me is Xbox fanboys, okay? Like the group of Xbox fanboys, they have position, like they look at Xbox and they talk about Xbox as if they're already way ahead of Sony. And this has always baffled me, and this has always concerned me a little bit. It's not that big of a deal if that's what you believe, but it's concerning because it's like, that's delusional thinking. And delusional thinking in any way, shape, or form is never good. You need to break out of that, you know, mode of thinking. You want the truth, right? The truth, you're saying you find it funny. It is kind of funny. And it's like, if you believe in Xbox and you think they're like just destroying and just going in hard, that's great. But you can't ignore the reality and the factual reality, right? And the factual reality is Xbox is still like, and I want people to understand the separation here. The separation comes in, I'm talking about Xbox as a brand, not Microsoft as a trillion-dollar company. Because a lot of times when you have these conversations, that's what they say. Oh, Microsoft's just so much bigger than Sony. Like, that's not what we're talking about. Yes, Microsoft is a much bigger corporation and entity than Sony is. In fact, Microsoft as a whole dwarfs Sony. But we're talking about the video game brands here. Microsoft, let me give these dudes a reality check. If Xbox as a brand didn't have the backing of Microsoft, they would be under right now. Because it's just not, I mean, they wouldn't be under, but at one point in time they would have been. But the reality is, Xbox needs Microsoft as an entity to do what it's doing right now. And that's fine. But there's a reason why they have left the traditional space. You know? And it's because they just simply couldn't compete with Sony in the traditional space. Because Sony was literally kicking their teeth in. It's why I always say, and I've said it so many times, I've said that I don't fault Phil Spencer for taking Xbox in the direction he did. I don't fault Xbox for going in the direction they're going in. Because they just couldn't compete with Sony and Nintendo. Why do you think Phil was out here saying, oh, Google and Amazon? Like, are you kidding me, dude? Come on. I mean, in the cloud space, sure, maybe. But, dude, Sony has succeeded more so than Google has in the cloud space. I want you to really think about that for a second, okay? Sony, a company who doesn't really even care about cloud gaming. They have a whole service, PlayStation Now, and they barely talk about it. Well, first of all, because that's not where they're making their money. And they're not worried about being the leader in a space where this isn't how people want to play their games. So Google got the bright idea. They're like, well, this is how people want to play their games. And everybody's like, no, it's not. And I I guess Xbox latched onto that and they're like, well, we can use this as an opportunity to make Sony look small. Like, okay. I'm just saying, man. All this stuff, like these narratives, they just feed the delusion. That's all I'm trying to convey. I have no problem talking about Xbox with Xbox fans in a positive way. The problem arises is when people start talking this delusional nonsense, and worst of all, they start pushing it out there. You know, like people they were dunking on me earlier this week. People were dunking on me because Jason Schreier responded to me in a tweet with 2 words, and he said fake news. Now, am I sitting here saying that Jason Schreier was trying to dunk on me or take a shot? I'm going to say no, because Jason Schreier, even though, you know, we have our differences, seems like an intelligent enough of a person to look at my tweet and realize I'm actually quote tweeting Gaming Bolt, an article written up by Gaming Bolt about Starfield that was apparently not written up very well because of what it was conveying. But what these dudes do to feed their delusions is they come out here and they say, oh, look, MBG is fake news. MBG got dunked on. So let's run with it. And it's just like, dude, you guys are cringe. Like, really. And I even responded to Jason Schreier and I just asked him to, you know, to let me know, like, what are you clarifying here? You know, like, are you clarifying that what you said about Starfield and whether or not it's going to be a 2021 game? Are you basically saying you think it's not going to be, or are you saying you're hearing it's not going to be? Because Jason Schreier is an insider and he talks to people, and he made it clear that he just doesn't think it's going to be. And essentially what it boils down to is no one really knows. In fact, I'm sure I don't even know that Bethesda or Microsoft themselves at this point know for sure whether or not Starfield's going to hit a 2021 release. But these dudes, they run with it, man. They run with it, you know? And it's just, it doesn't really bother me that much. But I feel like right here, right now, during my podcast is a good time to talk about it, you know? And just kind of acknowledge, like, you know, these are the same people who drink the KoolAid, man. They drink the KoolAid. The KoolAid of not old games, but like, you want to buy an Xbox Series X for old games because of backwards compatibility, right? Not for new games, but for that. Like, these are the people who are drinking that KoolAid. There's a difference between somebody saying, oh, that's a great thing to have, and that's really nice, and a difference between somebody being like, Xbox Series X is going to dominate because it has the best backwards compatibility offering. Like, what? No, like, that's, to me, that's like backwards. And don't get me wrong, I'm a believer in do what you want. If that's your reason for spending $500 on a Series X, dude, be my guest. But it's these people who, like, they want to push it, you know what I mean? They want to sit here and be like, PlayStation 5 can't play PS3 games. Well, you know what? Series X can play 360 games. It's like, okay, weird flex, but like, is that really, is that the difference maker here? I don't think so. Aaron, you're saying Microsoft and Google don't realize gamers want to physically own games and resell them, not be renting access. Yeah, dude, Google Stadia, man. I got to tell you, I knew, and I don't get like this very often, but when what was that announced in like early mid 2019? I only made a couple videos on it because I knew this is going to fail. This is going to crash and burn badly. I knew that. I could see it from a mile away, and I think a lot of other people could too. And I'm not trying to like be like, oh, I you know, look at me, I'm a prophet or whatever, like, you know, pat myself on the back. No, it's not like that. It's just, that was one of those rare instances where it's like, I know, like, this is going to be bad. This is going to be real bad. And I was excited. I was excited for the ride to see how it all went down. And, you know, I'm not trying to celebrate failure per se, but believe me when I tell you, I would much rather see something like Google Stadia crash and burn and just be forgotten than ever become like, oh, this is how everybody plays their games now. Right? It was great. Dude, I remember I saw some people, I'm not going to name names. you have no idea how badly right now I want to name a name, but I'm not going to because I like to think I'm beyond that. I'm not trying to play these petty games. Maybe some of you will know who I'm referencing. I mean, you really gotta pay attention to know who I'm referencing, okay? But I remember there was some individual specifically that, you know, they're supposed to be like the cool guy, whatever. You know, they're supposed to be the cool dude. They don't get dunked on, they do the dunking on. And I just remember like this dude was like out here in force, like Stadia. Like Stadia is the future. And it's laughable to me, dude. Like he was really going in like Stadia's the future. He was all in. And I'm like, well, what do you know? You were wrong. You weren't just a little wrong. You were completely wrong. And you kind of look dumb. I mean, I don't know if those tweets are still out there or whatnot. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. It doesn't matter. I'm just, you know, it's somebody that, I guess we could say it's somebody who is maybe a closet fanboy that, you know, you guys know. Some of you know. No. I'm seeing a lot of names put up right now. None of them are it. Okay? None of them are it. I'm not going to say, like, if I see the right one, I'm not going to say. I'm just saying the names I'm seeing right now. None of them are it. Okay? But I remember. And the reason why I remember, and I choose to remember, is because, okay, I see it. I see it now. And that's, look, I'm not going in anymore, man, because it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, here on the internet, okay, everybody has a persona, and there are some people who do not. And that can be for better or for worse. My goal is to be I'll put it to you this way. My goal is to not be fake. My goal is to not have a persona per se. But if I am going to have one, my goal is to be my better self. My best self that I can be. Not because there's eyes on me. I mean, I do feel a little bit responsible. Like I want to be, like I feel like you can choose. Do you want to be a positive force or a negative force? Right? And I've been a negative force. I'm not denying that. Oh, believe me, I have been. You ever notice how I don't make like these ranty Xbox videos anymore like I did all like in 2019 all the times? Because I don't want to do that stuff. Like that stuff at this point to me, like that's the cringe stuff. You know? But anyway, I digress here. We have Sir Speaks a Lot. You're saying, you ain't crap gamer, that's for sure. LOL, he got dunked on by Phil Spencer when he found out that the game was not going to be exclusive, I think. So take honor. Yeah, I don't have anything against, you know, crap gamer. I see a lot of people talk about him, and I'm not trying to be rude when I say this. I'm just saying I'm not really paying attention. Like I feel like I have my own thing going on here. We have our own community. I try these days. I try my best to avoid any other content creators because it's just like I feel like I don't gain anything from it. You know what I mean? Like I'm just trying to be my, you know, my most natural organic self here. And I just want as little, and this is why people say, oh, you got to stay off Twitter and stuff. It's like, it's true. Dude, it's totally true. This stuff infects your brain, man. I will admit, sometimes it makes it easier to kind of riff on stuff. You know, but again, it's like I'm trying to be more of a positive force and not a negative one, not overly negative. Like I want to be critical, but not overly critical, not needlessly critical and negative. And it's a difficult thing to do on the internet, let me tell you. But I don't want to be like, see, that's the thing too, is like I don't want to come off as like, hey, everything's great all the time, 100% positivity. Like that's just not real life and that's not realistic. You know, not everything's great all the time, and it doesn't need to be, and we can acknowledge that. Let me minimize that for a second. Okay, so we have some more super chats here I want to acknowledge. Keegan Moore, you're saying Starfield 2021 is very likely. It's a Todd Howard game. The last game he made was Fallout 4, and they announced that several months before release. Could be announced at E3. Yeah, I know that. And you know what? That's why I'm saying, like, I'm not... You know, people were very confused. Just to speak to that for a minute, you know, me being dunked on by Jason Schreier. Like, there were Xbox fanboys who were running with that, and they were like, oh, it sounds like you wanted Starfield to be delayed, and, you know, like, this is a good thing. And I'm like, did I say that it was a bad thing? Like, I literally put a question mark emoji, basically. I'm wondering, like, is it going to come out? Dude, I don't know why Starfield would come out in 2021. Why would Starfield come out in 2021? We have, Microsoft has Halo Infinite, arguably their biggest flagship IP. And in my opinion, that's more than, I think, let's paint this picture real quick. And I'm going to get to these other super chats, guys. Don't worry. But let's paint this picture real quick. Holiday 2021. Sony's big game. We're looking at Horizon Forbidden West. And there's going to be some other games as well, like Deathloop. Maybe a couple indies. And then we have on Xbox's side, their big game. We have Halo Infinite. Okay? And then maybe some other smaller games. To me, that's a perfect battle. That's a battle that, frankly, I think Sony wins. But I don't necessarily think Xbox loses. I just think that that's perfect. Like, at that point, if you look at Horizon Forbidden West going up against Halo Infinite and Starfield, in my opinion, and this truly depends. This truly depends on what Starfield ends up being, the quality of it. But I think that that's just kind of overkill, right? Like, unless somehow Sony shocks the world, and when they said God of War 2021, they actually meant it, and then somehow this holiday season, it's not going to happen. But this is just, you know, trying to look at the different scenarios. Somehow Sony has, you know, Horizon Forbidden West and God of War. I mean, that would be dumb, in my opinion. I don't think that needs to happen. Just like Halo Infinite and Starfield don't have to be sandwiched together. Because we're running out of time this year, is what I'm saying, right? And I feel like these games that we're talking about right now, they're all so big that you don't need to have them released right next to each other. You just don't, right? I mean, we are getting Ratchet and Clank in June. You know, so the idea of getting Ratchet and Clank and then maybe a couple months later, closer to the holiday season, you know, we'll get Kenna Bridge of Spirits in between that, but then getting Horizon, like, that's enough, man. And Deathloop, like, I'm good, dude. I'm good. Please don't give me God of War. I know that sounds crazy, but please don't. I can't handle all that. I really can't. And so that's the thing, is like, people were like thinking like that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I believe if Microsoft can hold on to Starfield to potentially put it up against, let's just say God of War comes out early 2022, like February or March 2022, save it for then. You know, that to me, because I think like Halo can go up against Horizon and Starfield can go up against God of War. I mean, don't get me wrong. Maybe this is just my bias showing. I think Sony wins both of those. You're saying Starfield is a guaranteed 90 plus Metacritic genre defining game. I don't know about that. Like, I feel like that's being a little bit too quick. Like, you're jumping the gun a little bit. It could be. I'm not saying it couldn't be. But I'm just saying, do we, like, really? We're going to assume that right off the bat? So, Christopher, you're saying, MBG, not sure if you heard, but the head of Stadia left roughly a week ago. I did hear about that, and let me tell you, I was absolutely not surprised whatsoever. Stadia is done. It's buried at this point. Creeping Stage 514, you're saying, I predicted that Cyberpunk would be bad in early 2020 without any inside knowledge. I just had a feeling it would. I didn't think it would be this bad, like a complete train wreck of a release, but I gotta tell you, like, I did not buy the hype the same way other people were. I just didn't. I was very skeptical. I feel like a lot of people were they were in the clouds, dude. Like, they were drinking the KoolAid big time. And I feel like there's a difference between I say drinking the KoolAid, we can drink the KoolAid, but just be wary, right? If I'm saying that word right. Just be careful whose KoolAid you're drinking. That's all I'm saying. Because, you know, if you, like, I'm drinking Sony's KoolAid, but you know why? It's because I've had their KoolAid already, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know? Maybe we could say the pudding, right? I feel like KoolAid is implying some bad stuff here. Say, say the proof is in the pudding. Well, I've tried Xbox's pudding. I've tried Sony's. I've tried some others, and let me tell you, Sony's is the best so far, man. It's the best tasting, highest quality. It's just not like when I'm eating Xboxes, it's just like, this just feels like this isn't good enough. Like this isn't the same. I don't want this, So like, I'm using this metaphor because I don't know, man. Like, I just don't understand. Like, people are so quick to be like, well, Microsoft has Bethesda now, right? And they're going to be perfect. And we were talking about Cyberpunk for a minute here. It's like that, that's like people were not eating the Cyberpunk pudding because the pudding wasn't ready yet. But people were telling me this is going to be the greatest pudding you ever consume. Like, once you eat Cyberpunk 2077's pudding, because we're still going in with this. We're going in with the pudding analogy here. It's going to be the greatest you ever have, and you're never going to want anything else. And it's like, dude, you guys need to take it down a notch. It's not going to be all that. It's really not. Like, I don't think any game's going to be all that. But the people who really believed it, I don't know. They were left with a very bad taste in their mouth, dude. They really were. Primal Plasma, you're saying, I was just thinking about how lucky young people who watch this podcast are to have a host that they can learn from and look up to. It's rare. Well, thank you for that, man. That's really kind words. I mean, I try not to put myself in that type of position, like it feels like suddenly it's like, oh man, I got to be responsible. But I do believe that it's very easy to get away from the core meaning of what you do. Like, I'm a believer. Here's my philosophy in life. You ready? Know why you're doing what you're doing. It's a very simple philosophy, but I encourage you, start saying those words in your head when you're out and about, when you're experiencing life and you're watching other people and you're doing your own thing. You become kind of shocked at, like, people do stuff and they don't know why. Like, they may think they know, but like when you really ask, like, really though, why are you doing this? A lot of people do stuff and they're just operating on autopilot. And then when they actually have to stop and ask themselves, wait, why? They realize maybe there actually isn't a meaning. There isn't a reason. And suddenly it's like, oh, it's getting a little bit deep, but it's like, it's true. And I ask myself, like, why do I do this YouTube channel? Why? Well, I'm passionate about games. Why am I passionate about games? Because they mean something to me. Why do they mean something to me? Because they've had a very important role in my life, and they've actually molded me to an extent into who I am. And it's very easy to get away from that because all of that I just listed, that all sounds pretty good to me, and it means something to me. But it's like suddenly when you start getting involved in other crap, you don't ask that question anymore. Then you're like, what are you doing? That's all. Just know why you're doing what you're doing. If you can answer that question, like, confidently, right? Like, I know, like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. You'll be okay. I think you'll be okay in life. Hopefully. But I appreciate that, man. Very kind words. Brett Williams, you're saying Halo gameplay, aside from looking 2 gens old, also looked slow, simplistic, and boring. Do you think it'll flop? Well, first of all, I do not. Halo objectively will not flop because it can't. It's going to have free-to-play multiplayer. The entirety of the game is releasing in the Game Pass, so it cannot flop. You merely adopted the gaming. I was born with it, molded by it. Yeah. Love that quote. I mean, that's not actually what he says in the movie. We all know that, but so Halo will not flop because it can. But basically, if you're asking me, is it going to live up to expectation? I think that's 50-50, man. I mean, because what you're saying, like, to me, Halo Infinite's gameplay was not impressive. I didn't think it was terrible. Like, I think visually the game did not impress, and I think that's what really most people latched on with Halo Infinite when we saw it. it was like this was supposed to be like the next gen showcase, and it just didn't look next gen like at all. Because I've seen a lot of people defending Halo and they're like, but the gameplay looked good, and I don't think the gameplay looked bad, but I do agree it looked just kind of like okay, like we know what this is. We've been here. It didn't look incredible. It didn't look mind blowing. You could argue maybe Halo Infinite's gameplay doesn't have to be any of that. And maybe it doesn't have to be, you know? I feel like if they can make the game look a lot more impressive, that'll go a very long way in changing people's tune on the game. It's like, okay, it looks a lot better, you know? That's good. Looks more next gen. That'll help a lot. So I feel like the question you're really asking me is not necessarily if it'll flop, like, you know, when it comes to sales or, you know, how many people are going to play it. It's not going to. If you're asking me, like, critically if it's going to flop, I mean, I think it has a good chance of letting people down. That's what I don't like, because I don't think Halo Infinite is going to get anything less than an 80 on Metacritic. I actually think it has the potential to get an 85 or more potentially, but I feel that there's a lot of, you know, high expectations for Halo Infinite to really be like, this is the glorious return. And it might not be that. It might just be like, this is a good Halo game. And that's okay. But I just feel like the general expectation around Halo is not that anymore. Like, Halo is like, you know, I think it was this guy on Twitter. I don't follow him, but I came across this tweet. Paris, I think his name is. I'm not too familiar with him, but he put out an interesting tweet where he was saying that his expectation, and I think he's like a big Xbox dude, his expectation is Halo needs to be great. If it's anything less than great or amazing, then it's going to be a disappointment. And to be honest, I think that was a really good tweet, because I think that he's speaking for a lot of people. A lot of people, you know, where it's like 343 has had more than enough time to get it right. Microsoft has had more than enough chances to, you know, not screw it up, I guess you could say. And I think that there's just a lot of pressure on Halo Infinite. I really do. More so than a lot of other games. Like, I feel like this is the inherent difference between Sony and Microsoft fundamentally when it comes to their games. I feel like there's a ton of pressure on both publishers because of how big they are. And, it's, you know, and this applies to Sony too. And I don't think the pressure is unfair, where it's like, we expect greatness. Like, we expect not good games, not okay games. We expect great games from Sony and Microsoft. I think that that's a fair expectation. And I think that the inherent difference, if you want to talk about, like, if you were to ask me, MBG, what is the biggest difference between Sony and Microsoft, is Sony performs under that pressure more often than not, much more often than not, where their games come out and they either meet expectations or they exceed them in terms of quality and how good they are as a whole package. And I feel like it's the literal opposite with Microsoft, where it's like they very rarely, if ever, meet that expectation. And if they are meeting that expectation, it's with their tried and true games, Halo, Gears, Forza, and even Halo in recent years, or at least the past couple entries. It just hasn't been doing it. You know what I mean? Whiskey Gaming, you're saying if Xbox is smart, they will space out what little triple anus games they have to not have such long periods with no big launches. Yeah, dude, my biggest concern at this point with Microsoft, you know how it's like, well, you know, Xbox fans will tell you that the Xbox has no games narrative is dead, right? They'll say the Xbox has no games narrative is dead. I agree. It's not buried yet, though. The reason why I say is because the day that narrative is buried or never returns is when, you know, it's not just a quantity issue that is solved. We need the quality issue solved. And my biggest concern truly with Microsoft is management. I heard somebody in the chat, or even a super chat if you want, you don't have to, but somebody please let me know. I heard somebody say, I don't recall where I saw it. They said that Hellblade 2 just got its director like a year ago or sometime in 2020 or something like that. Somebody in chat, please let me know. Give me some details on that, because that was a weird, I didn't know that, and I don't know if there was truth to that. So somebody please let me know. Rory, You're saying Xbox forgot to make any pudding. Yeah. Yeah. You're saying that makes no sense. I don't know where I heard that. Somebody said that, and I was like, is there truth to this? Did their director change or something? It was last month. Yeah, please elaborate. Isn't the same dude directing Hellblade 2? Maybe I have to look into this. If anybody has any insight on that, please let me know in the chat. David Gaines. Or no, Eckham, before I get to you, David. Saying you believe he left. Are we talking about the director of Hellblade 2, though? Or Halo? See, this is where I get a little bit confused. Eckham, you're saying, what do you think about Biomutant? I kind of dig it. It looks interesting. I don't know if it's a game I'm going to play. I'm already starting to fall behind, guys. For those wondering, I am playing Returnal, but the Returnal does not have my full 100% focus because right now I'm actually in the process of platinuming. I know it sounds crazy to people, but I'm in the process of platinuming. You're saying Ronnie Tucker for Hellblade 2. He was hired in April. Interesting. Interesting. You're saying Hellblade 2 has never lost or gained a director. Halo Infinite did twice. LOL. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like sometimes I feel like the biggest concern, like let's just say I was an Xbox fanboy, which I'm not, but if I was, my big concern would be management. Like it's clear that Microsoft has a management problem, you know? And I don't know exactly how you solve that problem. I don't get paid to figure that out. But the game I'm in the process of platinuming right now is Dead by Daylight. The reason why I say it is because I got completely addicted to this game early last month, and I've been enjoying it. And at first, I wasn't going to try to platinum it, and then I noticed like I actually only have a couple trophies, which require some grinding. I literally only have 2 more trophies left before I get the platinum for that. And once I do that, I'm like all in with Returnal, dude. Like I've been playing Returnal. Don't get me wrong, I have been, but it's like I haven't been like really playing it. So once I platinum Dead by Daylight, which will happen in the next day or 2 or 3 maybe, I'm gonna be all in with Returnal, and I want to see if I can platinum Returnal. Some people have been saying it's difficult, like not because it's it's a hard game obviously to beat, but because there's some RNG with collectibles, which that concerns me a little bit. So we'll have to see about that. But we have David Gaines, man. What's up, buddy? You're saying Halo will do well numbers-wise because Xbox gamers will make sure of it. I hope it's good. Let me see. I'm covering your chat a little bit. You're saying, I hope it's good because we as gamers win if it is, but you can't help but be skeptical after we have seen and heard. I agree 100%, man. I think you put that very nicely. I think that that's the thing that people are missing here is the reason why we here on Press X Podcast on, this channel, MBG, we're so critical of Xbox and always have been because we do want greatness from them. The better Xbox does, the better PlayStation does, right? That's just the nature of competition. And we don't want to see Sony ever become relaxed. It doesn't seem like they're going to, even while Microsoft is still getting their stuff together. But, that's always a possibility. When the competition isn't there or the competition isn't strong, it's very easy to get comfortable. And we do not want to see that. Josh, you were saying, hats off to Returnal MBG, loving it and the challenge. Yeah, man, like I said, I've been digging into Returnal, but I haven't really planted my feet there yet. And when I do, I'm going to be all in, dude, I'm starting to, you're saying, please do another Dead by Daylight stream. I probably will at some point, man. It's difficult for me to stream games. Like I'm not fully comfortable. I'm sure you guys are aware. I'm not fully comfortable streaming games yet because I don't do it enough. And I don't know how else to explain it where it's just like anything else. Like you have to get used to it. And that Returnal stream was really stressful for me because I just was I don't know what I'm doing. And so I think when I stream games, I'm not going to stream my first experience with them because it's way too uncomfortable for me, man. I can't play naturally. I become really dumb. I really do because I feel like, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing. People are watching me. All right, so we have Tepi Pita. Sorry if I destroyed your name, buddy, but you're saying, did you hear about the new Fable using the same engine as the new Forza Motorsport. I did hear about that. And I got to tell you, that is exciting to me because the Forza games, they look incredible. And, you know, the Forza tech, whatever they use, I mean, part of the reason why this game is probably still many years away, that being Fable, is because they have to figure out how to convert this properly to, you know, to become like an RPG engine or an engine that works well with an RPG. So I am excited about that. We also have, I know you told me how to pronounce your username before, buddy, and I'm going to butcher it again. Zay Very Rare. Hopefully I'm saying that right, man. You're saying, good afternoon, MBG. I've been watching your channel for a while. This is a very special moment for me because this is my first time donating to anyone. I apologize if I destroyed your name, buddy. Stay true to what you believe in. Love you, bro. Really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. You know, I appreciate all the donations you guys, you know, give me. It really goes a long way in helping continue. You know, it allows me to continue to do what I do here as frequently as I do it. And you guys always show up in force. And again, this is why, like, we have an amazing community. Like, we really do. You guys really seem to like what we do, what I do here on the channel. I see you guys interacting in the chat all the time. And I've been trying to do more streams because it feels more, you know, just more personable and more like a community effort on top of the normal content. So I really appreciate that, man. Really do. And I apologize once again if I destroyed your name reading that. Tyson Webb, you're asking, are you still using Pyramid Head as your main killer, or have you started using a new one? So I maxed out Trapper, and I played a little bit of Hag. I played a little bit of everybody. I played a little bit of the Doctor, but Pyramid Head is my main right now because the last trophies I need are just for prestiging. So I'm prestiging Pyramid Head, and I've just gotten pretty good with him. I actually had to D-rank my guy, my killer in Dead by Daylight, to get some of the trophies, like for Adept Nurse and whatnot. So yeah, maybe a little cheesing it a little bit, but yeah. And then we have CI Lavi. You're saying, do you think Housemarque is the next studio acquired by Microsoft because they have been proven for having a Sony exclusive standard? That's a good question, actually. So somebody's asking me real quick, did I finish Demon Souls? I did finish Demon Souls. I did. Yeah, that's an interesting one to me because I don't know. I want to say Housemarque will not be purchased by Microsoft because they have such a good relationship with Sony. Sony may be banking on that. Like, if you were to ask me, well, why won't Sony buy Housemarque? That might be why. You know, it's the whole, like, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? You know, that's obviously a metaphor, but basically what that means for those who are not aware, it just means that exactly what I said. Like, Housemarque feels very good about their relationship with Sony and their partnership to the point where they don't want to be bought by anybody else because Sony is there for them, you know? And Sony, I mean, let's be honest, I think Returnal, you know, I think it's safe to say it's easily their most successful game by like a large margin here. Like, for all we know, this is like, you know, doing wonders for their studio and their development teams. And so if that's the case, then, you know, they're going to want to keep that. And Sony may not feel the need to buy them because it's like, well, how do you feel about being partnered with us? And they're like, we feel great. We want to stay partners with you. Then it's like, well, then we don't have to buy them. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, Microsoft, with the type of money they can throw around, I think that can convince anybody, potentially. Not anybody. I mean, we have to understand, like, these are developers we're talking about, especially when you think about smaller teams like Housemarque. They're in it for the craft. You know, they're in it for the money, obviously. They have to be. I mean, anybody who does anything has to be in it for the money to an extent, to make a living. But they're in it for the craft. And so it's not always a matter of, well, what's your price? And it's like, you know, they say everybody has a price. And it's like, sometimes I believe in that, but sometimes it's like, not necessarily, man. Not everybody has a price. Sometimes it's not just about the money. And I guess I'm just saying, like, if Sony has that, Sony has given them the ability to create what they want. They've given them a budget. They've supported them, given them creative freedom. And they've also provided them the opportunity to make more money than ever before and be more stable than ever before because of Returnal. Then why would they want to be bought by Microsoft is what I'm trying to say, you know? The Real Tan Seeker, you're saying Xbox rather than exclusives. They're pushing Game Pass games added regularly, pushing a large library of old/new games for the subscription fee. Yes, they are. And I'm just not about that. Like, this is why, I see a lot of people, at least on Twitter and, in these forums and these places where we communicate, a lot of people talk about Xbox and their support for old games and like 120 FPS boost for old games and stuff like that. And like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I'm just saying they're not selling me on that. Like, that's not what makes me be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go start investing more in the Xbox ecosystem. That's just me. Okay. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but the last time I checked, okay, people want new games. That's why they buy a new console. Like, I put out this tweet and it was a little bit snarky, but it was just honest, where I was like, it's awesome to me that when Sony puts out a new console, they put out new games to support that console. At launch, Sackboy: Big Adventure, Astrobot, Demon's Souls, Spider-Man Miles Morales. A couple months later, Returnal. Very shortly after that, Ratchet and Clank. And then obviously more to come later in the year. And I'm not trying to be like, like Xbox sucks and has no games, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying, like, this is like, why do people, not everybody, but like people who are talking on the loudest on the internet, sometimes it seems, it's like, are we forgetting that? Like, why are we not talking about that more loudly, more consistently? You're saying I'm looking a bit chubby. I don't know, man. I'm putting on a little bit of weight. I like to say I'm just bulking. I'm still mostly muscle, but I'm definitely gaining some weight. Trying to make sure it doesn't get too bad, But thank you for noticing that. Really appreciate that, man. Junior Jackson, you're saying, MBG, what do you need to be able to stream better? Maybe this community can help. Well, I'm not one who likes to ask for stuff. So basically this PC I bought, it's not, it's pretty much like a basic work chunky bound gamer. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. You say it's that growing boy you got, dad bod. Yeah, dude. Yeah, 100%, man. And it's okay. It's okay, because I'm not trying to impress anybody anymore. You know what I mean? I don't want to become unhealthy, but yeah, you're asking me like what I need. So my PC, it's weak, man. Like, it has a weak CPU, doesn't have a graphics card. It's basically, I could, at the time when I bought this PC, I could afford something that was just enough to get by. And I still think it is. Like, we're streaming right now just fine, right? But it has like this weird problem. People ask me for my PC specs, dude. I don't even know. I don't even have it in front of me. But it's garbage. It's garbage. I mean, it's just enough. It helps me. I'm able to do editing, basic editing. I'm able to produce content. I'm able to stream, obviously, but I'm not going to ask people like, hey, guys, donate hundreds of, and thousands of dollars so I can go buy a top-end, high-end premium PC. I'm going to upgrade my PC when I'm able to something significantly better, but I want that to just happen naturally. If I get to a point where it's like, oh, like I can afford it, I can do this, I'm going to do that, But yeah, it's like, uh-oh. Did my stream just freeze? Oh, God. Can you hear me? Okay. Did my screen just freeze? Okay, there we go. Everything's This is weird. Give me a second, guys. Apparently, I have to use my phone for chat right now. Everything's good on your end. We're literally talking about a PC, my PC, and how garbage it is, and everything froze, dude. Everything just froze. Wait, hold on. I think it came back. Hold on. Okay. All right. We're good. We're good. Dude, I am. You know what? On second thought, donate to me right now. Donate as much money as you got. I got to go buy a PC. It's clear my computer's like not hanging in there anymore, dude. Your PC didn't appreciate the trash talk. Dude, no, it didn't, man. I got some extra tabs open. I'm just gonna close them because it's clear. This is ridiculous, dude. Every time I stream, I love my PC. My PC is doing work for me. It's reliable. It's always here for me. It doesn't want to betray me, and it never would because I love my PC, and I'm definitely not going to replace it anytime soon because it's a great, reliable PC. So, yeah, just got to say that. Oh man, that's crazy, dude. That is crazy. So let me see here. Question mark. You're saying, is it weird that PlayStation fans want the best from Xbox more than Xbox fans themselves? It is. And that's why I talk about drinking the KoolAid or eating the pudding, whatever whatever metaphor you want to use. That's what I mean, dude. Is like celebrate the wins that Xbox is getting, but don't jump the gun is all I'm saying. It's like, don't pull a Cyberpunk, right? You want to say the Xbox games narrative is dead, that's fine. Or has no games narrative is dead. But don't then follow it up by acting like an Xbox is crushing PlayStation, because it's just like, no, they're not, dude. Not even close. No, they're not. So like encourage them to compete more, but come on. It's true, dude. It's true. Like there are some weird fanboys out there, man, on both sides. I know people think that like I'll just be okay with anything as long as it's positive PlayStation. No, dude. There's toxicity that's like bad on both sides, man. And it gets too far. Like, guys, we're freaking talking about video games. All right? Like, we don't have to be this serious all the time. Like, it's the passion. I appreciate the passion, but sometimes people take it too far. And it's like, this isn't about passion anymore, man. It's really not. Jamel, you're saying, what do you think about Biomutant? RE8 is 8 hours. Yeah, I heard Resident Evil Village is about 8 to 10 hours, which is kind of what I expected, honestly. Biomutant, as I said earlier, looks interesting. I don't know that it's a game I'm going to play. It looks like it has the potential to be like a surprise hit, though, based off of what I'm seeing. By the way, guys, we have over 900 people here. If you could do me a big favor, please hit that like button. We're almost at 400 likes. I think we could easily get to 500 likes and absolutely crush it. Maybe we could get to 600, but we certainly have more than enough people here to make that happen. So just take a second to hit that like button. If you do enjoy the podcast and you do appreciate the content, believe me when I tell you, hitting that like button goes a long way in helping push this podcast out to more people, getting it in front of more people's faces so we can continue to grow the community. So if you want to grow the community, hit that like button. Really appreciate that. We have iSiler18. You're saying old games need to have a specific definition. I'm not going back to consoles that have been around for 12 to 14 years, that being PS3 and 360. And like, that's the whole thing I'm trying to say, man, is like, I don't have a problem at all with anybody who likes playing old games. I'm just saying it's like, I think we just have to kind of realize that the reality of the situation is the overwhelming majority of people who play video games, when they buy a console or when they even think about buying a console, it's not for old games. We want our games to go forward with us, right? Like, could you imagine what the PS5 would be like if you couldn't play PS4 games? I'll tell you right now, it'd still be selling like crazy. It'd still be breaking records. People don't want to hear that. They don't want to believe that. That's just the truth. Luckily, that's not an issue we have to deal with because it can play PS4 games. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. Why do you think the PS4 sold so well? Do you think the PS4 is sitting at 116 million units sold because it can play PS3 games? Oh, wait, that's right. It can't. There's like no backwards compatibility for that console. You see? And I'm not saying that means we shouldn't advocate for it. I'm just saying we can't ignore the realities. Acute perspective. You're saying Sony has Borg Assimilate business style equals Microsoft launched Xbox Live in 2002. Sony equals PS Plus 2006. Microsoft Xbox PC ports equals Sony PC ports. Microsoft Game Pass equals Jim Ryan will answer Game Pass. Microsoft Discord equals Sony. I'm not going to lie, Q Perspective, I'm having a difficult time following everything you're bringing up here, but it seems like you're basically, if I'm reading this right, it sounds like you're saying that Sony has a tendency to kind of follow or respond to Microsoft, making it seem as though Microsoft is leading. I mean, potentially. I don't necessarily think that's it. I just think that Sony is just trying to pick and choose what may work for them. But I also think that they're always trying to be ready for anything. You know, like I think that that's Sony's approach right now. Sony's approach is focus on the games, focus on selling the console, and then we're going to look at our competition. We're going to see what they're doing right. We're going to see the wins they're getting or, you know, they're experiencing right now. And we're going to maybe pick and choose and kind of, you know, maybe we should implement this as well, right? Maybe not. So, yeah, I appreciate the super chat, man. I'm going to do something that I haven't really done before. And I'm just going to, in the middle of my podcast, retweet it out there and just see if I see more people join. I'm just curious to see if that works or not. That's on Twitter, obviously. My Twitter following is much smaller than our YouTube community here. Sir Speaks a lot. You're saying your PC didn't appreciate the trash talk. Yeah, I read that one. Matthew Dillon, you're saying you're like in all caps here, man. Sounds like you're a little heated right now. So Matthew Dillon, you're saying I sold my Xbox Series X to buy a PS5 disc edition. When you can play Xbox games on your phone, PC, or tablet, then what's the point of owning an Xbox? I've been Xbox since the 360 days. Glad to be part of the family. I mean, inherently, what you're saying is logical. The question does become, if I can have access to these games anywhere, why would I buy your console? And the truth is, man, and I think we're just going to see this, more and more as we go further into this generation for both PlayStation and Xbox, but especially with Xbox. I don't think Sony's planning on putting their PS5 exclusives on the PC anytime soon. I don't know that they could for a lot of them that are coming up. It's becoming more of a, if you want the console experience, buy the console. That's what it is. When it comes to Xbox, they make the console because they just want that to be another avenue for people who want that to experience it. PlayStation is different, man. The reason why you have a PS5 disc console right now, the reason why you sold your Series X is because Sony is out here actively trying. Whether they're succeeding or not, that's for every person to decide for themselves, but they are trying big time to get you into the their console ecosystem. They want you to buy a console. That's what they want. More than anything. They would rather you buy a console before you subscribe to PS Now. They want you to have that console because, and let me tell you why. It's simple logic, okay? When a human being, okay, who earns their money, when they decide to invest $500 of their earned money into a product, the chances of them, investing for, even further, it's very high. It's very high. Like it's as simple as that. It's like, if you buy a $500 console, you're going to buy games for it. That's why you bought the console. So you're giving Sony the $500 for the cost of the hardware itself, which they're not really making any money off of, right? And at that point, they're expecting you subscribe to PS Plus, subscribe to PS Now if you want, buy games, try to buy those games digitally. If you can't, buy them physically. But, that's where they make their money, dude. And Sony has successfully, how many of you here saw my video yesterday? Okay. I'm sure a pretty True Witty, don't worry, man. I didn't miss your super chat. I'm just slowly making my way through them. Don't worry. I'm not going to miss any super chats. I have them all in front of me. I'm going to get to them. For those who saw my video yesterday, you saw that I put out a tweet that Benji Sales over on Twitter, he's a pretty cool dude who tracks this stuff. He put out a tweet
showing how much profit these companies were making off of their games and services, not hardware, games and services. Sony, the company that doesn't focus nearly as much on their services, they do focus on the games though, for sure, but they don't focus nearly as much on their services. They focus way more on the hardware than the services themselves. I mean, they're definitely focusing on PS Plus, but you guys know what I'm saying. $4.1 billion in profit, in third place just behind Tencent and Apple. Microsoft was at like 6th, 7th, or 8th place. Okay? Yeah, I hate to break it to people who think that, you know, consoles are out, like they're on their way out, or they're not how... Yeah, it's true. Sony nor Microsoft rarely ever make a decent profit off of their hardware sales, but their hardware sales are what, like, that's what leads to this type of profit you're seeing for Sony. I mean, don't get me wrong. You need the games. You need the games. It's just simple logic that people keep trying to, like, and this is because of Microsoft's marketing and the way Phil Spencer and everybody talks about it. They try to, like, misdirect and be like, it's simple logic. Create a great console, great piece of hardware. What do you need for that console? You need great games. You know, you need one with the other. It's two sides of the same coin. They need to be there. If one's not there, you're going to have to, I mean, look at Stadia. Stadia's like, we don't need a console. Look at what happened. Crash and burn. Look at Microsoft. Not now. I mean, maybe still now, but in the past, it was like, we don't really need to invest in games in the same way that Sony is. We're fine with Halo, Gears, and Forza. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you are not. You need to have both. And the point is, Sony has that on lock. They have that on lock. Nintendo, too. I mean, I think Nintendo is doing things differently. And obviously in the third-party support area, things are differently, but Sony has it on lock. So next here, we have Brett Williams. You're saying, hey, I bought an Acer laptop for only $460, and it's been handling streaming no problem. Has an SSD expansion for NVMe M.2. Can send a link for you. Yeah, dude, shoot me that link over on Twitter if you get a chance. I'll check it out. Although, you know what, man? The thing is, I don't know that I'm going to be using a laptop. I have like a 32-inch 4K monitor, and you could hook up a laptop to a monitor for sure. But I'm to be honest, when I do invest in a PC, it's going to be something like pretty significant. Nothing crazy like $3,000 or $4,000 rig, nothing like that. But you know, definitely something that can get the job done very easily when it comes to streaming and stuff. And actually, I'm going to get, guys, don't worry. I'm going to get to your super chats. Let me just read them real quick. So True Witty, you're saying your PC needs to be put down like an old rusty car. Don't say that out loud, man. It might hear you. Onyx Prime, thank you for that donation, buddy. And True Witty, again, you're saying fans act like it to try to spin a narrative. Yes, they do, man. They really do. You're saying just to help with streaming immediately. Yeah, you're right. That you are right about that. That's actually less than what I spent on this PC. Not by much, just by a little bit. But and then Matthew Dillon, you're saying another decision was that PS5 feels next gen and Xbox doesn't at all, to be honest. I mean, dude, that's the thing that drives me a little bit nuts is people make it seem like all these things Sony were doing, they were not only gimmicks, but they were to like make up for what wasn't there. You get what I'm saying? Like people tried to spin a narrative where it's like, oh, the PS5's weak, it's behind schedule, it's rushed, all this crap. That's just not true. And it's like when we see Sony focus on haptic feedback, the triggers in the DualSense itself, 3D audio, the speed of the console, the I/O throughput, the SSD speed working in tandem. Everybody made it, not everybody, but a lot of people tried to make it sound like, oh, this is all just gimmicky stuff to kind of smoke and mirrors to make up for the fact that their console was weak and it was rushed. And it's like, not at all, dude. You know what it was? And it's very simple. Sony realized that people at this point in time are like, you look at how good games look on the PS4 Pro, go look at even just Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. I know that's a random game, but it's a multi-platform game. I mean, obviously we could look at The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm talking about games that are made for like all platforms. Look at how good that game looks on a PS4 Pro. Looks really good. Okay. Sony and Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. Yeah, exactly. Even a better example there. You know, I know the resolution was lower on the Pro, but still the game looked phenomenal. Still looks phenomenal. Sony realized that people are not going to be as impressed as they once were just by the visual leap. Not only because it's going to be more difficult to show that visual leap, right? Because you're going to have to see it in 4K. You're going to have to be able to see it in 4K 60. Not everybody's going to be able to. So Sony was like, we need to go beyond that. What's the next best way to try to get people on board with next gen? What could we consider truly next gen? Well, the senses. Okay, how do we do that? What can we do with the controller? I mean, think about it. When you're gaming on a console, the controller is your gateway to everything you're experiencing outside of the visual aspect. That's why I don't appreciate people who are like, oh, you'd rather have extra vibration in your controller than more pixels? Yes, because it's not just extra vibration. If you haven't, like, when I hear people say stuff like that, you can tell, like, you haven't experienced it. It's not at all what it is. It's not just extra rumble and vibration. It's very far from that. And it does make a big difference when it's used and implemented properly. And anybody who has used it, that. I'm not saying that like the DualSense itself is like, this is the only, like, it's a big add-on, I guess you could say. It's a major perk. And it's crazy to me. I'm not going to lie. Like when I hear games, like multi-platform games, when I hear that they're going to support the DualSense in a big way, and there's just nothing, like they can't, that's something that Xbox players are missing. I'm not saying it's make or break, just like backwards compatibility isn't make or break, but it's crazy to me when I experience the way this controller works with some games that like this is just something that doesn't exist on the other platform. And that's crazy to me because once you experience it, you don't go back. You don't go back. You don't. And it's just crazy to me. It's stuff like that 3D audio. I mean, look, people think 3D audio is a gimmick. It's not. It's not. Go put on a pair of headphones when playing Returnal, and you're going to realize very quickly it's not a gimmick. It's not just, normal surround sound. It's not. It's much more than that. There's nuance to it. I'm not saying everybody is going to be able to hear it, but because there is nuance to it. But once you identify it, you can't unhear it, and you realize, oh, okay, now I get it. Yeah, you're saying Returnal does wonders with 3D audio in the DualSense. 100% agreed, dude. 100% agreed. So we have some more super chats here. There was something I was going to talk about earlier. I totally forgot. Oh, remind me, chat. Remind me in approximately, I have 3 super chats I'm going to read. After I read the third one, please remind me to talk about future streaming, like streaming events on the channel here. Remind me. So Master Roshi, you're saying the future is a content/games library war like Netflix versus Disney Plus, etc. And that's the thing, dude. Even if that is the future, right now Sony's well positioned to win that battle, not based off of quantity, but based off of both quantity and quality. Sony could produce less games overall potentially than Microsoft, but again, it's like the Netflix versus HBO situation, like you're saying. I mean, I don't know if I would liken either of these consoles to Disney or like, the direction they're going in. The Caped Crusader, you're saying, hey, MBG, why do you think Sony keeps teasing those 20-second PS5 trailers? Something big coming for E3 week, perhaps, even though E3 is canceled. Well, E3 is still happening. It's just, I think it's a digital event, as far as I know, unless it got canceled while I was streaming this. I think they're teasing the fact that they're gonna potentially be able to roll out more consoles. They're like they got a green light, like they were able to produce more than expected. Either that, or it's just normal marketing. Like they have to remind everybody, this is our new console. We have new games coming, and I do think that the timing of it is here because they want to start building a little bit of momentum going into June because they're going to have an event. And I think that a great way to do that is let's just put out a really awesome PS5 trailer and then break it up in parts and just keep kind of marketing it, It's a marketing buildup to, I think, their event for sure. I don't think it's anything crazy like they're teasing, like some kind of, crazy new feature for the PS5 or anything like that. I don't think that's what that is. Whiskey Gaming, you're saying I get a good discount on Dell, HP, and Lenovo through my work. Can try to hook you up. DualSense is no gimmick. Endless possibilities for devs. Well, I appreciate that, man. We'll see what happens. I mean, I always feel weird. Like I'm not, I don't want to come off as somebody where it's like, oh, like I need you guys to do this for me. You guys already do enough for me. You really do. You really do. So I'm not going to ask anything like that of you, Whiskey Gaming. I know you're a member and you support and you're always super chatting. So, man, you're doing more than enough. But I agree with you. The DualSense is not a gimmick. Anybody who has tried it, it's not a gimmick. And then one more time, Whiskey Gaming, you're saying 3D audio saved my life several times in Returnal. Dude, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a difference maker, man. It is. It is. I can't always wear my headset when I'm playing. In fact, most of the time I can't. But when I can, it's a difference maker, dude. Master Roshi, you're saying what I found interesting is the rise of Chinese developers. Sony must go into exploiting that gap and buy those good indie studios. American studios seem to be only caring about profit and quality. Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing that too. And the thing is, we don't know if that's something that's going to happen. I'm seeing a lot of people asking me to talk about like upcoming events and whatnot. Oh, wait, I asked you guys to remind me to talk about that. Yeah, that's specifically pertaining to streaming. I'll talk about that just a second. When it comes to Chinese devs, man, I do agree. Like they're becoming more prolific in different ways. And I don't know that Sony's going to, I think this is an area where Sony's going to continue with big partnerships. I really do. Like, I think they might try to continue to do more partnerships. So we'll have to see, man. I mean, it's anybody's guess what Sony's going to do there. By the way, one more time, guys. One more time. All right. I know you guys can do it. You can do it. We're almost at 1,000 people here watching. Hit that like button, guys. We have over 950 people here. We could easily get to 900 likes if every single person listening to this could take a second to hit the like button. I don't like begging for likes. It's just they do help. That's why I have to ask for them. And I know that the chat, if you're watching on like mobile or something, it covers up the like button. So hit that like button, guys. Really helps. Really, really helps. You're saying the second you could feel Astro's little feet tip-tapping over the glass surface, I fell in love with this generation. Dude, I mean, it sounds a little bit dramatic, but it's true, man. Like that, it's a unique feeling. It really is. And thank you so much, Master Roshi, for becoming a member, man. Really appreciate that. Welcome. I'm not going to lie. I have been doing a terrible job at putting out videos early for my members. And I do apologize for that. Just know that anybody who is becoming a member, you're very much appreciated. You do not have to feel pressured to become a member or remain a member. And my perks have kind of dwindled a little bit, but just know you are helping support me directly. And it goes a long way. So thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. So to talk briefly about future events. Okay, so I think I'm going to change the approach to how I handle events. Okay, so E3 is happening. We know Xbox is going to be E3. We know that Sony at some point is going to have some type of event. I do not think I'm going to stream them live as they are happening. Okay? The reason why I say that, well, it's for a couple of reasons. I've been having some serious issues with streaming live events lately. I do not know why. But what I think I'm going to do, because I know some people are feeling disappointed when I say that. Listen. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a stream ready to go as soon as the event is over. Another reason I say that is because I've noticed when I'm live reacting to events, it's just, it feels weird because I never know, like I want to be quiet and I want to like be more reserved because I want everybody who's watching to be able to hear what's happening. And I don't, some people like when I do that, some people don't. And I just feel like it would make more sense if I'm just like, okay, like let's just say Xbox is E3, right? Xbox is E3. I'm going to watch that, obviously. And, we all watch it. And As soon as it's done, boom, I go live. I feel like, honestly, that's how most people want to consume it, because I notice when I'm streaming these live events, people come in at the beginning and then they all like leave to go watch it. And then there's like a huge surge at like once the event's ended, because people are coming in, they want to hear my reaction. Maybe, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know that not everybody's like that. And I know that a lot of you here live right now are not like that, but I don't know. I mean, if anything, it's tough, man. It's tough because it's like, it's tough because I'm in a position right now with my PC where it's like, I do not feel confident in streaming anything live right now. Like it scares me, man. Like I tried to do it with I tried to do it with Ratchet and Clank, and I felt like really, really bad. I felt really bad because it was like, Brett, you're saying you sent me a link. Okay, I'll check it out. I know I don't have direct messages open, but I'll check out the link, man. Saying just upgrade your GPU, dude. I know, but it's maybe it is that simple. The thing is, I want to buy like a whole new PC. I can't, like, between now and the time that all these events are happening, you know, I don't know that I'm gonna be like. Here's what I'll say. I feel like I know that there might be some disappointment. And like, well, you're not going to be able to watch it literally with me, right? Like, you're not going to be able to watch it with me, and you're not going to hear my initial reaction. But what you're going to get is basically the same thing where it's like, to be honest, and here's another reason. It's easier for me to just do a post-live reaction because I don't feel like I have to wait. Like, I don't feel like this pressure, like, oh, I really want to say something right now about this, but I know people are watching and then I'm also watching. It's just like, I get to take it all in at one time, and then I can just kind of let it simmer for just a moment, and then I go live and it's like, let's talk about everything we just saw, you know? Question mark is saying, I think Xbox should get rid of their power factor when they talk about their consoles because obviously it's not working for them. AKA PlayStation. Yeah, dude. I mean, the only people talking about the power factor of the next gen Xbox are the fanboys. Not even Xbox is talking about it anymore. And I think that's because it's like, yeah, it's not really working out. It's not the way they wanted it to. Magnum Visuals, you say, try streaming from your PS5. Download YouTube on your PS5. I do have YouTube on my PS5. I don't think I can do that. Is that a thing I can do? I don't think I can. I think your PS5 only lets you stream games. I mean, unless I had like a capture card, potentially, but I don't currently own one. But I don't know, man. You're saying stream on Twitch? Dude, I'm not streaming on Twitch. It's just not going to happen. Don't talk about getting a new PC in front of your current PC. You're right. You're right. I don't know, man. Like with my PC, it's really, really strange because, yeah, I don't like somebody saying you got to reinstall Windows again. Maybe. I'm sure there's some stuff I got to do that I'm not doing. But I noticed, like, it seems like Windows updates like on a weekly basis almost. And I think what happens is a lot of times I don't restart my PC when I'm supposed to. And it just messes up my PC, man. Because I've noticed that. Anytime I run into issues, there's like these telltale signs where it's like things are just not working properly. And there's like no explanation for it. And then I just restart my PC and then my next stream is perfectly fine. You know, you're saying Windows updates always change your settings randomly. It seems that way, man. Primal Plasma, you're saying it's not your hardware. You have a memory leak. What's a memory leak? You're gonna have to explain that a little bit further. Yeah, Hanzo, Bolo had power, but look at Bruce. Yeah, I see you, man. It's true. It's true. I see you. You're saying MBG, please do a live stream for these events, please. I mean, look, here's the thing. I feel like I have to try. Like I I think I'm just going to put out an explicit warning when I stream these events where I'm going to be like, guys, this may crash. Like, this may be the worst stream you ever see, and you might have to leave. But, I mean, you know, when I streamed the, Ratchet and Clank State of Play, I was shocked that, dude, it was running, like, my stream was running like 5 frames per second, dude, and it was freezing constantly. There were still 300 people that stayed here, and I was like, what? Like, you guys are the real deal, sticking around with this crap stream, terrible stream. But what I did was, you know, I kept it up because I felt bad because there were people who still just wanted to hang out with me and just hear my reaction, even though they couldn't watch it with me. And what was interesting is I was like, all right, guys, like, you know, this stream went terribly. Give me an hour. I'm going to set up another stream and we'll just have like a post-reaction discussion. And, you know, over 1,000 people showed up for that. It went really well. It went on to get like 21,000 views. And it told me that, like, you know, people are very much interested in what I have to say, regardless of whether it's a live thing. And I know there's a difference between a live reaction, like as it's happening, and then doing a live streamed, let me tell you what I think about everything we just saw. So I feel like I may just have to take a chance. I mean, I could see if I could try to do something with my PC or just get a new one before these events go down. You're saying your Xbox Series X event is a gold mine. Don't let those moments die. Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. You're saying, what is your RAM MBG? Is it single or dual? I think it might be single. If I'm I'm not, dude, I'm bad with PC spec talk, man. Let me see. Hold on, let me check something real quick. So right now the stream is smooth, right, guys? We haven't really had any issues with this stream. I'm going to go open up my task manager real quick, and we'll just do this live. So performance. Okay, so like right now, performance, my CPU, it's fluctuating between 35 and 45%. It seems like it's peaking at 45%, 3.6 gigahertz. And when I'm streaming, I use window capture on OBS. Okay, when I'm streaming and I'm using window capture on OBS, it bumps my CPU usage up to 100%. Okay? I've been told before not to use display capture because that like it just like pushes your PC way more than window capture. And so I'm looking at my memory right now, 53%, 12 gigabytes of memory, 53% is being utilized. So that's obviously not a problem, right? And that's always where it stays when I'm streaming. My internet's good, perfectly fine. GPU right now is using 30%. Again, when I'm using window capture and streaming like a live event, it bumps it up to 100%. You see yeah, so it everything looks good right now, man. See, my CPU suddenly now it just shot up to like 67%. What CPU do you have? I don't know my PC specs, dude. Like I have to find them. It's ridiculous. Like I literally don't. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. Got them right here. Ready? Here are my specs. So you guys can tell me how terrible on a scale from 1 to 10 these specs are. All right? You ready? CPU, Intel Core i5 9400 CPU at 2.9 gigahertz. So what are your thoughts on the CPU? Do you think it's the CPU? God, MBG is so tech illiterate. Dude, I am, man. I am. With some stuff, I really am. Saying i5, LOL, slow. Horrible. Somebody says fine. People saying not bad. Slow. You definitely think it's the CPU, LOL? Yeah. Dude, it probably is the CPU. All right, so here we go. Here's my GPU. You ready? My GPU is even worse. On question mark, you're saying, sounds to me that your PC decided to give you the talk. Look, man, we stood by you, and now it's time for us to part ways. So, you ready for my GPU? I'm curious. You guys let me know. Okay, you got the CPU. GPU is Intel UHD Graphics 630. That's what my GPU is. That's my GPU. So I'm waiting to see the reactions. He was like, yeah, it's bad, right? So, all right, here's the question though. I know my specs are terrible. I know they're bad. My question is, what's worse? Like, what's causing the problem? The GPU or the CPU? That's not a GPU. That's APU. Dude, everybody's saying GPU. Just the APU in general, just the entire thing. Yeah. Integrated GPU. Yeah. Here, real quick though, guys, you ready? You ready? Everybody's freaking out. These specs I just read to you, they're the same ones I used all last year and had no issue. For those of you who are here, do you remember my PS5 event stream, the Xbox event stream, the Game Awards? These are the same specs, man. Ruben, you're saying, please just do a reaction. It's annoying when people talk over live events. We'll have to see, man. My RAM, got 12 gigabytes of RAM. That's all it says, just 12 gigabytes. Creeping Stage, you're saying, are you using Quick Sync for encoding? I don't think so. I'm using software based. That's what it says on OSB anyway. I'm using software, which I guess is the better way to go. My upload bandwidth, my internet's fine, dude. It's never, I don't think it's, I have like a wired connection and I have like 1 gigabit speeds. So I don't think it's that. Saying you would bump the RAM up to 16 gigs. Yeah, but I don't think the RAM's the issue, dude. It's clear it's the CPU and GPU. Let's start a GoFundMe for PC. Get a GPU. See, this is why I was saying, like, I'm just thinking about just getting a new PC, because when I bought this thing, dude, I don't know anything about PC, and I was just like, oh, this seems like it'll be fine. It's definitely because I used to use you think these specs are bad, dude? When I was first starting, I was using you think this is a potato, dude? I had a laptop that was literally a potato. Literally a potato with an Ethernet cord hooked into it. It was bad, dude. So I thought this was like a big upgrade. And then I learned very quickly, like, I'm learning now. Apparently it's not. You're saying it's not RAM, get a GPU. Well, the thing is, I don't know. I think I need to upgrade my GPU and my CPU, because if I just upgrade my GPU, then the CPU is going to be the bottleneck, right? How old is my PC? It's probably about 1.5 years. You might have a virus on your PC then. Yeah, it could be that too, dude. Saying the GPU is a disaster. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I stream, like if I were to do window capture right now through OBS and try to like we're just going to watch. I'm just going to stream through window capture the latest trailer for Ratchet and Clank. It would probably cripple this entire stream. Most likely. Make sure all of your Chrome tabs are closed when streaming. Yeah, dude, I've done everything. So, yeah, I mean, I got a couple more super chats here. Let me minimize that. So, saying you're using integrated graphics, you only have CPU. True what you're saying. It's getting old. Take it out back and shotgun it. Creeping Stage, you're saying use Intel Quick Sync because it reduces load on CPU. All right, I'll look into that. And then Danny, thank you for the donation, buddy. So yeah, I mean, look, you're saying last year you weren't on camera. That is true. That is true. I don't know how much. I mean, does it really add that much? I guess it does. I guess it does. You're saying CPU is rarely the bottleneck, but it may be when compiling YouTube videos. Rashdam, you're saying, honestly, i5 CPU isn't bad. I would just upgrade RAM to 32 gigabytes, get a dedicated GPU and SSD. I think I do have an SSD already, instead of spending way more money on a new rig. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a few, I have some decisions to make. I mean, I could just do nothing and be like, yeah, I don't know. What's weird to me is it's crazy. So for the Ratchet and Clank stream that we did, you know, when that stream crashed as I was trying to stream it live, I downloaded the video and then I put that in the background at 1080p with a webcam, like right now, right? And I had both that footage playing as well as my webcam on, and it worked just fine, dude. Like there's trying to stream it live. It puts, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. That, I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb with this stuff, but it doesn't make any sense that would, if anything, it seems to me like downloading the video and then running it at 1080p while streaming it in the background with my face cam at 1080p, that sounds like it would be more stressful than just streaming it, right? Yeah, this podcast went way off the rails, by the way. I do apologize, but I had to talk about this at some point, you know, and I figured that most of you here right now, you're probably the same people that show up for these live events, right? And I just want to figure it out, you know, that's all. Buy an Xbox, that'll solve my problem. Yeah. Well, saying just upgrade your whole PC and you'll be fine. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about what I'm going to do. You're saying the CPU isn't that bad. It seems like I just need more RAM, and I don't know, man. Like when I'm streaming these events, my RAM never seems like it's being maxed out even close. It's like, you know, maxes out at like 50 to 60%, you know? So I'll have to think about it, guys. You're saying do a stream trial for preparation purposes. Dude, even those make me nervous because I'm always afraid, oh, yeah, I'll do a stream ahead of time and I'll make sure everything's worked out. And there's one of two things happens. It either just doesn't work out or it works out. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling good. And then the day comes where we do the event and then it's like, it craps out. And I'm like, why? You know? Well, I'll figure it out. I'll figure something out. I mean, you're saying if something on your PC goes to 100%, that's usually a problem. Saying it's not the RAM. You don't have a dedicated graphics card and your CPU is not the best and it's taking the whole workload. Maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe I could just try to go for the GPU upgrade. See if that fixes it. Probably would. Anyway, I do apologize. We went way off the rails here, but to be honest, I wasn't going to be going for that much longer because the topics this week were a little bit scarce. I didn't expect this to be a whole topic though, but I'll figure it out. I don't know. It is expensive to buy a new PC. That's the thing. I may be able to. I don't know. I probably won't be able to buy a new PC. But, I mean, aren't graphics cards just as expensive these days anyway? Saying the Cape Crusader MBG, you're too big of a YouTuber nowadays to be struggling with streams. No, I agree, man. Again, like, the thing is, this is catching me off guard because, as I said, you're saying use the super chat money. I mean, what it's going toward it. Yeah, that's what this stuff is going towards, man. I mean, eventually, anyway. Keep in mind, YouTube takes, a lot of people don't realize YouTube takes a cut of the super chats. A lot of people don't know that. They don't take a massive cut. I think they take like 30% or something like that. So, just keep that in mind. Because, like, I see people all the time, like, they see these super chats flowing in, and they're like, oh, man, like, that's crazy. It's like, well, they take like 1/3 almost, so it's like, and it's important to keep that in mind. Like anytime you're donating to a content creator, just keep in mind that, they're not getting 100% of the, and I'm not saying that isn't fair. I mean, I think it's fair. I mean, it's, I can't complain. YouTube gives me the platform, and I've grown my audience here on the platform. So it is what it is. It's fair, right? Don't get me wrong. If they were like, oh, we're going to reduce it, we're only going to take like 20% or 10%, that'd be great. But that's just not how it goes. 30 is the new 20. Yeah. It is what it is, Google wants to make their money too, right? Everybody wants to make their money. Everybody wants their cut. You're saying in charity streams, YouTube doesn't take any profit. That's fair. That's fair. They shouldn't, right? If you're doing a charity stream. You're saying put your PayPal request for Super Chat in the description so you don't have to worry about YouTube cuts. Well, the thing is, dude, I do like the Super Chat system because I feel like it's a great way for people to have their voice heard in a bigger way. Because the chats can be overwhelming. I like the system. I'm just making everybody aware that it's not like, this is just how I've been okay with it. I don't have any, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just making everybody aware. Adam CF, thank you for the $5, buddy. You're saying you're too forgiving, MEG. Allowing business to privatize everyday conversation when the internet was a publicly funded endeavor is all awful. I mean, I agree, man, but it's like, my hands are tied, buddy. That's all I'm saying. My hands are tied to an extent. Kevin, thank you for the $5, buddy. CI, you're saying try to live stream from PS5 for the next PS events. Okay, chat. I'm fairly certain I can't do that. I could try it, but I don't think I can. I don't think I could stream. I don't think I could open up the YouTube app on my PlayStation 5 console and then stream myself watching YouTube on my PlayStation 5 console. I don't think I can do that. I'm almost 100% certain that is not something that they allow unless you have a capture card. That would be great. I would want, dude, my PS5 obviously stomps my PC. It like eats my PC for breakfast in terms of power, right? I would love to be able to use that to stream everything. Maybe I should invest in a capture card. Don't I need like if I were to use a capture card, that I'm pretty sure that would that requires a PC though, right? Like I'm very ignorant to this in case you can't tell because I've never used it. I'm pretty sure in order to use a capture card, I need a better GPU as well, right? Like what I have in my PC isn't going to work unless I'm confused on how a capture card works. These are things you would think I would know, but I don't. I have no shame in it. I want to learn. I want to learn. I've just never had to. I've always just streamed from the console when I stream games. But saying Elgato will allow you to do graphics overlays when people dono from Venmo and PayPal. Oh, well, okay. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of use these built-in systems. HDCP settings force the streaming features to stop when using apps. Yeah. Saying, wow, I really thought you knew all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff I do know. There's probably just as much I don't know. It's all just a matter of experience, Like, for me, it's always kind of been like, I've just been doing what works. And I've had to learn a lot of stuff, obviously. And anything else that I felt like I didn't have to do or learn, I didn't go out of my way to figure it out. It's one of these things where it's like, well, I'm running into it now. I'm going to have to figure it out and learn it, right? You should be fine with the capture card. Yeah. Well, I'll have to think about what I'm going to do. I'll leave you with this. I'll leave you with this. So when it comes to streaming events, stream from my phone. Is that what you're saying? Could I do that? I don't think I could do. I'm sure you can. I know you can, but I don't know that would be an ideal experience. I really don't think it would be. You're saying not many people know this PC stuff, especially because there's always new stuff coming out. It's hard to keep up with what's better. Yeah, dude, that's the thing. Like, that's one thing I like about consoles. Like, I don't mind diving deep into certain console specs because I know they're going to stay static for at least a good long while, But here's what I'll say with the whole streaming events thing, okay? I can't make any promises. Here's the one promise I can make because we're, we're almost halfway. Oh, okay. Not phone. You weren't talking about a phone. Gotcha. All right. Glad we could clear that up. Here's what I'll say, because I'm gonna eventually figure this stuff out, right? Like I'm eventually gonna get it sorted. My whole thing is this. This was unexpected to me because, as I said, I streamed these events last year, and most of them went off without a hitch. This year, for some reason, it's been a nightmare. So here's the promise I can make. The one thing I can promise is that when these events go down, I will be here the day of to talk about them with you. You will get my reaction, maybe not live, okay? You will get my reaction, you will hear my thoughts, and we will talk about it for sure. When it comes to actual live streamed, like we're going to stream the event now as it's happening, and you're going to get my live reaction. Right now, I can't promise that. All right, so you're saying it's the camera. It might be, but dude, like, when I was streaming the Ratchet and Clank stream, man, I took the camera off and it didn't do anything. You're saying kind of like how Mystic does it? Potentially, just something. It's a miracle your content setup can actually live stream this. That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, how many this is the 60th episode of this podcast. How many have we done where it was like, it just worked fine, right? With or without a webcam, with gameplay in the background. Isn't that weird? Somebody said my PC might just have a bad virus or something. I'm thinking that might be it, maybe. Anyway, I apologize. I went on a whole tangent. I know that we didn't. The point is, you guys don't have to worry about it, all right? Don't stress out over my problems. I will figure it out. Eventually, I'm going to buy a new PC. And when I do, I know a lot more now than I did when I bought this current PC I have. Obviously, like I barely did any research. I just thought like, oh, this will be good enough, right? To be fair, for a long time, it has been. It's doing work right now for me. So I can't complain. But don't worry about it. I don't want to make any promises because we are encroaching on these events that are coming up. Don't worry, guys. Like, I'm going to be here. We're going to talk about them. We're going to react to them. It may be a little bit different this time around, but either way, I know you guys will be here and we're going to have a good time as always. I can't wait to see what Xbox is going to be showing this year. I can't wait to see, obviously, what Sony's going to be doing. And so... yeah, I had to have this conversation with you guys. You're saying no problem, bro. I don't care if you're doing gaming or talking your PC specs. All right, so let me double check here what other topics I may or may not have left, because I do have them written down. So... okay, I do have to talk about this because I didn't put it in my title, but I put it out on Twitter, and I'm going to be brief with it because it was kind of cleared up. So it's about Halo Infinite. There were reports going around that it was a former 343 Industries artist. CookX, you're saying, how about do a poll whether you should keep live streaming them or not? Well, I don't want to do that because I know that there's enough people that want to see it. So it's not like I'm saying, oh, I don't know if people want it. I know that you guys want that. I'm just saying, like, it may have to wait until I make these upgrades, basically, because like the last time I tried to stream, it was a colossal disaster, and I'm just trying to avoid that. I want everything to flow as smoothly as it can on the channel. So I'm not saying I'm not going to do them. I know people want them, and I know you guys love them. I'm just saying, this year, I don't want to say this year because there's going to be events, like basically starting in June, there's events all the way until like the holiday season, and then we have the Game Awards. So I'm going to try to, at some point, do something, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm just giving everybody fair warning. Like, don't be too upset if I can't do a live reaction stream and it's like, well, we have to do a post stream. Okay. That's all I'm saying for now. Anyway, just for now. You're saying even with the problems, we enjoy the streams. I'm glad. But just to talk about this, I know this is coming very late in the podcast. Yeah, so this artist from 343 Industries, there were reports making the rounds where he had some things to say about the development environment there. You know, there was some crunch, he was saying. He was saying that, he was telling people not to expect Halo Infinite to be a masterpiece. Stuff like this, right? He was saying that there were just certain engine features that weren't ready. And he came out and he clarified some things. And I was not aware of this when I put out my tweet for this stream. So people did make me aware of it, which I'm glad. And I watched his video where he clarified things. And basically what he is saying is that you're saying it's all still facts what he said, though. I mean, yeah, like I feel bad for the guy because you could tell like he didn't realize the weight of everything he was saying, and he did not expect it to kind of be like something that these gaming outlets like ran with and made a big deal of. And he did like, so one of the things he clarified was when he said not to expect a masterpiece. Now he said, and I'm paraphrasing everything here, but I'm just trying to convey ultimately like what he was trying to convey. He said what he meant by saying don't expect a masterpiece is not that it won't be good, but I think, what he said is just something that everybody, I think, kind of feels, and it's just kind of common sense, where he's like, the expectations for games these days are so high, and ultimately what he was trying to say is he's not sure that Halo Infinite is going to meet everybody's expectations. Now, to me, I mean, I appreciate him saying that. I think that that's a little bit of a cop-out. I only say that because it's like we don't say that about Sony's games. You see what I'm saying? And again, you could argue, well, does Microsoft have to be like Sony? They don't have to be if they don't want to be, but I don't see a problem in them striving to be. We don't say that about Sony's games. We don't say, well, I don't know that Horizon Forbidden West is going to live up to everybody's expectations. I feel like the closest thing we get to that is maybe a game like Returnal. Like maybe this isn't going to be for everybody. Maybe some people's expectations are going to be a little bit too high for a game like Returnal, and they'll feel a little bit disappointed. We don't say that about Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. We don't say that about Horizon. We don't say that about God of War, nor should we be. Need to make that clear. We should never be saying that because Sony is telling us we want to charge you $70 for these games. These are AAA, in some cases, as cringe as the term may be, quadruple A games, right? So absolutely not, dude. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, let's keep our expectations in check. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm hyped for Ratchet & Clank. And if they do something to disappoint me, I'll let you know. If they drop the ball, I'll let you know. Horizon Forbidden West, same applies. God of War, 100%. My hype levels are through the roof for these games, as they should be. And Sony knows that. And Sony encourages that. And it does up the ante. It does make it so that, they have a lot of pressure on them. And this is why I don't like Game Pass. I'm just being honest, because you already know, again, what that guy Paris said on Twitter, 100%, man, Halo can't just be good. It has to be great. I don't care if it's on Game Pass. I don't care if it's free to play. I don't care if Microsoft altered their measurement for success. I don't care. What I care about is how good is it going to be? How good is it? Now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't care that much. I'm not a big Halo fan. But Returnal absolutely should not have a higher Metacritic score than Halo. Okay? I mean, look, Returnal has a higher Metacritic score than Ghost of Tsushima, but I've already said Ghost of Tsushima is higher than an 83. It is. It just is. It is. Ghost of Tsushima should be at the very least an 85, maybe an 87, 88. Probably a 90, honestly. Ghost of Tsushima should probably be a 90, being real. It's a great game, dude. Like, it's a first-class game. It really is. And I'm just saying, like, that's what Halo needs to be, dude. And I'm just not going to accept this, well, and I get what he was saying. Like, he's just, and I think what he said was fair, The one thing he said as well is he clarified the crunch talk, which I thought was good because he's basically just saying, and I think he actually worded it great. He was saying that he wasn't speaking for the whole studio and he wasn't speaking on behalf of 343 or Microsoft, obviously, but he said that sometimes he crunches because that's what they do, because that's part of the industry. Like and here's how he said it. He basically was like, look, he's got, the working at home. He's got stuff going on all throughout the day. And he says, at night is usually when he starts working. And sometimes he gets into a flow and he forgets to eat. And he doesn't, he loses track of time because he's in the moment. He's in the flow and he's going to get it done. Dude, I'm sorry. That's not crunch. At least not what these people want to make crunch sound like. That's called working hard. That's called pushing yourself to do a good job. You know what I mean? I'm not I'm not saying you shouldn't stop to eat, obviously. No, stop to eat, I'm not saying that you should push yourself to the point where your health is in jeopardy. Absolutely not. I'm just saying, dude, there's too many people, they're just too soft. They don't understand. And I appreciated what he said, what this developer said about, because you could tell he's passionate about what he does. And that's what he was trying to convey, is that a lot of times what it was perceived as crunch, and I'm not saying this as a wide umbrella, okay? Because there's different degrees. There is real crunch where it's this maybe is not good. This is not good. You need to change this. But then it's like pride, right? There's good pride. There's bad pride. There's a positive side to it. There's a negative side to it. In this case, when it comes to crunch, I feel like sometimes I'm passionate about something and I want to push myself even further because that's how passionate I am. That I think sometimes gets mixed in with, oh, that's unhealthy. No, that's not unhealthy. That's actually admirable, in my opinion. That's a good thing. That's how we achieve greatness in a lot of ways, right? It's like being a championship, being part of a championship sports team, man. You gotta, you're playing with the big boys. You're in the big leagues. You want an easier time, go play with the amateurs, not the professionals. Is that rough? Yeah, that's rough, but that's the truth, dude. You're saying, yes, this isn't predatory crunch. However, companies exploit this against other employees. I agree. You cannot weaponize that. That's where the egregious part comes in. When you weaponize it. When it's people are clearly in unhealthy working conditions, you can't mask that with, oh, they're just passionate. There's a difference, right? It's even the most conditioned athlete, even the most professional athlete, they gotta take their breaks, man. We're only human. We're not machines. Okay? I'm saying it's a balance. It's like anything else in life. The hardest thing to achieve in life is a proper balance because it's way too easy to fall on one side or the other. And when you can achieve that balance, that's where the great things happen. But like I said, it's very difficult. Matthew Dillon, you're saying, as a new PlayStation member, I cannot believe Jim Ryan is still in his position. We need a gamer running PlayStation. I really cannot stand him. I'm gonna be honest with you, Matthew. I don't fully agree with that. I don't know if Jim Ryan is a gamer or not. Here's what I know. Philosophical MBG. Dude, I can get really philosophical. You'd be shocked. How philosophical I can get. But I don't agree with you, Matthew, because MBG doing a therapist stream. I don't agree with you, Matthew, because here's what I know about Jim Ryan. Okay? And to me, this is the most important thing. My perception of Jim Ryan, it's two things. Now, you know, people will say, well, he's just a businessman. He's just a suit. He only cares about making the most amount of profit for Sony. Those things may be true. One thing I like about Jim Ryan, okay, there's two. Here's how I perceive him. One, he's been with PlayStation since the PS1 days. He was there for the creation of the PlayStation brand. He wasn't obviously as high up, anywhere near as high up as he is now. He was, you know, much lower back then, but he worked his way up. The point is, he's been here. He's been along for the whole ride, dude. The whole ride. That Dude's been watching some David Goggins. Yeah, right. I have been. I see that, and I acknowledge that. And then there's also the fact that I don't know if look, we don't know these things. This is like some inside baseball stuff that we can guess. I don't know if somebody walked up to Jim Ryan, a person who was hired to market PlayStation, and said, "Hey Jim, here's what we think would be best for you when you go on camera for the first PlayStation event. Just, talk about the devs, talk about the great games, the console, but end it by saying this. We'll let the games do the talking." I don't know if he came up with that or if somebody else did, but the point is he's in the position where he was the one who said, "Okay, I like that. We're going to do that. I'm going to green light that, and then I'm going to say that." And then what do they do after that? They don't just talk. They don't just say, "We'll let the games do the talking," and then not show games and then not release games. They do the literal opposite. So this is why I'm saying, like, if the worst thing about Jim Ryan is the dude doesn't care about old games, okay. I mean, I'm not going to condemn the dude because, you know what, to be honest, I'm kind of the same way. I'm not saying I don't care. I'm just saying when Jim Ryan said, please don't twist this because I know what's going to happen. I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, MBG, I can't believe you said this. But the biggest quote that people use against Jim Ryan is you're saying he also said we believe in generations, which is incredibly misleading. Not true. Not true. So actually, if you go back, right, him saying we believe in generations was him saying that we're going to have PS5 exclusives. What is Returnal? What is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart? We're going to have more of those. What is Gran Turismo 7? Now, was it a little bit misleading? Just a tad where it's like, oh, well, I thought like Horizon and Spider-Man were part of that. Yeah. Like they should have came out up front and said these are PS4 games, and they didn't come out up front. But it's not as misleading as you make it sound. But the biggest quote that people use against Jim Ryan. Oh, Jim Ryan's in the chat here. Really quick. Sir speaks a lot. Or no, we have Creeping Stage 514. You're saying when you finish your stream, check your email. Will do, man. Will do. Sir speaks a lot. You're saying in case you guys need a better explanation, passion is me forgetting to eat my Whataburger meal because the game is great. Crunch is my boss throwing it away before my first bite to make sure I work. Okay. Thank you for that insight, Sir Speaks a Lot. Appreciate that. So the biggest quote that people use against Jim Ryan is not the we believe in generations thing, okay? You're saying by we believe in generations, it's supposed to mean that we keep moving forward and the past is in the past. Yeah, I think that's what that was really trying to convey is like, look, like we're trying to push forward. We're not trying to, and honestly, if you're wondering why Sony did that, it's because it was a good counter attack to what Sony or Microsoft was doing at the time, where Microsoft was doing the literal opposite, where they're like, we don't believe in generations. Everything is everywhere all the time, blah, blah, blah. And like they both have pros and cons. But for me personally, I agree with the let's move forward, not backward. We can always look back and we can always take a glance and appreciate it and remember it. That's always important, obviously. You got to know where you came from to know where you're going, or to appreciate, where you're going to end up, of course. But you're saying, Magnet Visuals, you're saying, we believe in generations. We are getting PSVR 2, the DualSense SSD speed for game design and innovation. Xbox feels more the same. I agree, dude. I mean, I have all these Xbox dudes, who have been and still hype up the Xbox Series X to no end. And I'm not trying to be, the typical like PlayStation bias fanboy when I say like, what have they shown me, man? I'm trying to just like cut through the BS, and I'm serious. Like, what has Xbox shown me? What, they showed me that they can spend a lot of money to buy an entire publisher. That's great. But that's not really what I wanted. I mean, don't get me wrong. It'll help. But I'm just saying, what have they shown me, dude? You know, like Xbox, where is that big Xbox exclusive that should make me want to go out there right now and try to acquire Series X or something, you know? Jim Ryan in the chat says, thank you, MBG, for the positivity that you're spreading around my name. These Xbox fanboys won't and cannot slander my name. Dude, I know this Jim Ryan guy in the chat. Could you just pretend this is a reality for a second? What if that was him? What if it was Jim Ryan? Wouldn't that be just the most bizarre thing ever? It's obviously not, but just what if it was? That'd be crazy. You're saying you met Jim Ryan at a Bloodborne event in London. That's interesting. I try not to talk. I don't like talking about industry, like these executives, like there's some kind of like, he's saying you crazy, MBG. I've been talking for too long, dude. I lose it when I talk for too long. I don't like talking about these guys though, like they're celebrities or something. I don't like talking about celebrities. They're just people, right? But we have Black Waifus saying Xbox dudes in quotes. Names, please. I don't want to. I'm not going to do that because I like that implies that I'm trying to make things personal, and I'm not. I'm not trying to make anything personal. But you know, again, I'm not trying to be rude towards Xbox or Xbox fans. I'm just, you know, I'm honestly just asking, like, what is there? I feel like Xbox, from a marketing perspective, they're not really bothering me. They're just doing what they're doing. What bothers me are there's like a group of Xbox fanboys. I know you know who they are. And it's like they keep saying the same things. And it's like I get flustered because I'm like, I'm not getting it. I don't get it. And it's like, no matter how much I listen to them, I don't get it. Like, what am I missing here? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm literally getting ready to sink my teeth into a new PlayStation 5 exclusive. All right? And by the time I finish it, I probably won't be finished with it. Before I even finish it, there's going to be another triple anus Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart right there, ready. And by that time, I'm probably going to be looking at another PlayStation event where they're going to be showing me even more games that are coming over the next 6 months and even into the first half of 2022. And I'm just saying, like, where is the triple anus? I've been going on too long, guys. I'm losing my mind here. He said the thing. Yeah, it's going to be the thing now. Triple anus. Xbox, Phil Spencer. I'm going to have to make that a shirt. Triple anus. I need Phil Spencer to tell me where the triple anus is because I'm not seeing it. I hear these dudes every week preaching, you know, Xbox Series X, power, tools, things that the PS5 doesn't have, whatever that may be, while also talking trash on the PS5 and PlayStation. And I'm just like, guys, if you haven't already, try to buy a PS5. I know it might be impossible, but just buy a PS5 and embrace the triple anus. All right, because when you do that, you're like, you know what the craziest thing is, dude? The craziest thing. You ready? Some of these dudes claim they have PS5s, which I don't doubt. Like, I'll always believe people when they say that. And they play these games and they're still like, they're like not impressed. But it's not the fact that they're not impressed. Because I get that. Like, maybe you're just not impressed, right? But then they act like what Xbox is doing is impressive. And that just blows my mind, man. And I get it, like, different strokes for different folks, but like, what? And this is why I say I don't get it. And maybe that's why I get so flustered. Like, maybe I just don't understand it. I don't know, man. I'm not saying that these dudes who love Xbox should come out here and be like, I hate Xbox. Xbox sucks. I just don't understand. I mean, I do understand why they're saying Xbox is the best, but then it's like, it's almost like let's just not pay attention to anything PlayStation's doing. All right? Like let's only pay attention to the bad things they're doing. You know what I mean? I don't know why I'm going on this rant right now. I don't. Anyway, let me bring it all full circle now, because this podcast is going to have to end soon because I'm clearly losing my mind. This always happens towards the end of the podcast. I lose my mind. My cat, I think, wants to come on. She'll jump up when she's ready. She'll jump up. Come on. Come on. Come on. There you go. I don't know if you guys can see my cat or not, but this is Leia. Okay, this is Leia. Don't scratch me. Come on. I'm just showing you to my audience. I'm showing my cat because I know you guys, everybody wants to see the cat. It's Leia. I have another cat named Boss. He's outside, not outside literally, but in another room doing something, probably sleeping. You just see the tail. You just see the tail. Yeah. She's gonna end up knocking something over though. Crispy, you're saying some of these dudes even say they should have canceled the launch of the PS5. What are they, out of their minds? I mean, I kind of get that, but yeah. Oh, by the way, I know some of you know Leia already because when I was doing my the game awards stream back in December, I had my backdrop, and at the end she tried jumping on my backdrop and knocked it down and revealed my messy. I'm not in my basement anymore, but I was in my basement at the time, and it was like a complete mess in the background. It was a disaster, and like I was purposely trying to hide that, and she just jumped on it, knocked it down, and it was like, wow, like live on stream. It was a great moment. Good memories, huh? Yeah, that was fun, though. That was funny. At that point, I just had to embrace it. I'm like, well, that's my basement, guys, and it looks terrible. All right, come on. We're gonna have to get down now, though, because you're gonna knock something over. All right, so completely forgot where we were at. So I don't even remember what I was talking about, guys. I don't even think it matters. I think it's safe to say this. Put a fork in this podcast. It's pretty much done, right? I'm just checking the chat right now. I mean, dude, this was a fun podcast. Matthew, you're saying easy to understand these Xbox streamers are getting paid by Xbox to be on their side no matter what. Yeah, well, you know what, dude? I'll say this last piece before I end this podcast. So I sit here and I say I don't understand, but to be honest, yeah, leave it to my cat to break me up in the middle of a rant. And this isn't going to be a rant because I want to end the podcast on a more positive note, you know, because I mean, there's not a whole lot to rant about, you know, that I haven't already said, but I sit here and I say I don't understand. But the truth is, like, I feel like it's like a pendulum, as I said before, and it kind of swings back and forth. And I feel like Xbox and Xbox fans have been getting so much crap. Most of it, not all of it, but most of it deserving. Okay? In my opinion, most of it deserving. And it's just gotten to a point where it's like PlayStation, like the pendulum's going to have to swing, right? And I think it took Microsoft buying Bethesda to really kind of let that pendulum swing back in the other direction, in their direction, and then cause people to start pushing back against PlayStation, and PlayStation's bad, and PlayStation's doom and gloom, this and that, and, you know, and making a much bigger deal out of some of the things that were happening. And I think that it also just, you know, some people, it kind of allowed this situation where it's like, well, you know, it's Xbox's time to shine to an extent. Like, they've been crapped on long enough. And I think that it's kind of like an underdog story a little bit. And everybody always loves the underdog story. And it's just made it easy for people to just kind of buy into like some ridiculous narratives and nonsense that just, it's like, really, like, this is where we're going. And it's like, yeah, this is where we're going. It's like, all right, well, I'll just wait for things to come back around then. And I guess it's just like, for me, I'm just not convinced. You know what I mean? Like, I know that there are a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm like, I've tried to give Xbox their credit and their due, like I have PlayStation, and I feel like I have. I've said it so many times, like the potential that Xbox has for like a comeback. And when I say comeback, I don't mean at the expense of PlayStation. I just mean like to actually like really do something big. It's higher than ever before. Like, the potential's through the roof. But they still, like, they have not fully realized that potential, and it's going to take time. You're saying $1 trillion company equals underdogs. The Xbox brand is an underdog, not necessarily the company that's backing the Xbox brand. And I just think that, like, Phil said it himself in a tweet. He responded to somebody, I don't know whoever it was blocked me, but I saw it, and he's like, we feed. I mean, it was a little creepy, but I get what he was saying. It was funny. He basically was like, me and the Xbox team, we feed off of the positivity and the excitement in the community. And I get that, I get that. And that's just the thing. And you could tell, like, he was talking about that Bethesda announcement, and like, they're feeling good. And it's like, they should. But like, again, it's like, we have to make sure we're trying to see things as clearly as possible and be as fair as we can. Just like I can sit here and say that Sony could do a better job with backwards compatibility and game preservation. Sony could do a better job in maybe trying to, bring on more studios that make sense. Sony could do a better job in communication in some ways. Just, acknowledging that it's not all perfect, but also making sure that all, these things I'm listing for PlayStation, the things that Sony gets right, they get really, really right. Like, they really get it right to the point where it's almost like, I'm not saying I'm giving them a free pass. I'm just simply saying I'm not outraged. Sony, what's that, Sony? You want to charge publishers for crossplay like Epic Games? I'm outraged. I'm not. I literally don't care. I'm playing Returnal. I'm playing Returnal on my PS5. I'm playing Dead by Daylight on my PS5. I'm enjoying my console. I don't care. It's just the reality. Jerry, you're saying Xbox Series X is the only console I've traded. I will buy again as soon as they get a game I think is worth buying. Yeah, dude, like, a lot of people ask me, and I'll end the stream here because I do have some stuff I got to take care of today. And my voice is starting to go. But let me tell you, dude, a lot of people ask me, they're like, dude, how come you didn't buy a Series X at launch? Like, I feel like, there are people who have said to me that they think that I would be more like unbiased, or people would take my opinion more seriously if I had a Series X. And like, I've said it a few times, but I think it's worth reiterating. Like, I didn't buy a Series X for the exact reason that you said you traded yours. I'm assuming for a PS5 or something. It's because there was like, they didn't sell me on anything. Like, I was pumped. For those who remember, I live streamed the 2019 Game Awards, and that's where Microsoft not only revealed the Series X, which shocked me that they were revealing it there, but they revealed Hellblade 2. And anybody who watched that, you knew I was pumped. I was like, holy crap, Microsoft is not playing around this time, dude. And then we just never heard of it again. Like, I mean, we barely have seen anything or heard anything about Hellblade 2. And I'm like, that's a game that if it was, ready for the launch of the console, like, I kind of thought that they were going to have that ready for the launch of the console. I really did. And so I was a little bit surprised that we just haven't heard anything about it. But what I'm trying to say is that if they had that either ready for the launch of the console or within the first 6 months of the console, dude, I would have a Series X right now. I would have made sure to have a Series X because that's a game I want to play. And I know people are like, oh, dude, just upgrade your PC. I'm going to have to upgrade my PC at some point. When I do, I don't think I'm going to be gaming on it. I just like the console experience. That goes for Xbox and PlayStation. Just, to put that out there. So, all in all, I think that's what it all comes down to, man. I mean, I feel like I repeat myself a lot, and I know you guys know I repeat myself a lot, and that's just the nature of, You know, I talk a lot on the channel. I'm bound to repeat myself, but you're saying Hellblade just got a director. I don't believe that. I need proof of that. Somebody, was that tweeted out? Was that was that I don't believe that. Like, how did they just now get a director? That can't be real, right? Like, that can't be real. Why would they announce the game in 2019 if they just now got a director? I mean, I guess, can you make a game without a director? I don't understand that. Like, see, that's what concerns me. It was tweeted out. Is that over on the official Ninja Theory Twitter? Before I end this, I want to figure this out. Let me check. Ninja Theory. Let's see. Can you give me a date? Like when this was tweeted out? You need a vision from a director. Of course you do. Dude, everything needs a director. That's how everything comes together. Yeah, I was pretty shocked last year when we didn't see any Hellblade 2 at the Xbox event. You're saying it's literally the same people making Hellblade 2, it's just PlayStation fans spreading nonsense. See, that's what I don't know. Like, that's why I'm confused. Like, I thought they already... job alert 3 days ago, looking for mid-level or above tools programmers. The tools. They need to figure out the tools. I'm just messing, obviously, but that's funny. I'm looking at their Twitter now. It looks like they are hiring a lot, though, which is interesting to me. I'm not seeing anything, guys. I mean, I'm here in April now. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, I don't know how far along Hellblade is. I keep saying I'm going to end it, but I am going to end it. Here's the last thing I'm going to say. My biggest concern with Microsoft and their studios in general, it's how they're being managed. Okay, like, I fear for what will happen if they can't properly manage all of these studios. You could argue, well, they just have so many studios that they're bound to put out a couple of hits, which, yeah, I mean, maybe that's just, throw a bunch of crap at the wall and eventually something's going to stick. Yeah, I guess that could be applicable here. But I just don't like that. I don't like that it has to go through that type of filter. This is why I've always kind of preferred Sony's way of doing it, where it's like they're much more refined about it. They're much more like high stakes, high reward, high risk, high reward. And I like that. So anyway, guys, I'm very close to just losing my mind completely. In case you can't tell, I'm very hungry. I got to eat something. Got to go try to platinum Dead by Daylight. I got to do that so I can really start digging in deep with Returnal. See if I can actually beat that second boss finally. That game kicks my ass, dude. Really does. This was a great podcast, guys. I really appreciate everybody who took time to stop by and hang out with me. Those of you who were here the whole time, those of you who are going to watch later, really do appreciate that. I do apologize if some of you are let down about, what we talked about with the upcoming event streams. I don't know what's going to happen, but just know it's not your problem. You don't have to worry about it. I will figure something out. It just might not. You're saying, wait, you're not passionate enough to not eat? Dude, you know what? Like, I haven't eaten anything all day. Like, I haven't eaten at all. I'm basically fasting. I kind of do that almost every day. I fast for like most of the day and then I eat later. Now, I'm passionate. I'm passionate. And I would keep going if I didn't have other things I had to get done. Like platinuming Dead by Daylight. That's some hard work, man. Platinuming Dead by Daylight, got to put in those hours. I'm kidding, of course, but yeah, I appreciate it, guys. We will be here again next Sunday, episode 61 of Press X Podcast. Crazy to think about that. We're getting closer to the 75 mark and then eventually the 100 mark. That's going to be crazy. Once again, if you're new here, or even if you're not new, please go tell people to subscribe to the channel. 100K by July 1st. and we will do a bug snack stream because I know that's what you all want. Yeah, so that does it, guys. Leave the video a like or leave the stream a like before you leave. Maybe we can get to 700 before you guys head out. We need about 38 likes. Really appreciate that. Big shout out to all of my members. Thank you for supporting me directly. Huge shout out to everybody who donated a super chat today. You guys always show up in force. And a huge shout out to my entire community. You guys are awesome and always have fun with these streams. So that does it. Episode 60 is in the books. So before this outro gets any longer, until next time, guys, take care.